No surprises on that list, right? These are all guys who.
Huh?
I got it all set up.
Good.
So they redid.
Did Rory check with the other guy about draft day?
Yeah, we checked with.
Rory?
Oh, I haven't heard from.
Okay.
If you're one of the first 30,000 early arriving fans, back in the schedule, presented by OwlsWhoLiveSports. Be here for it. Cubs.com/tickets. You know who's going to be there? T-Mac. T-Mac. The trumpeter.
Correct.
Now one bullet towards third, but foul.
We should just recreate a look on the L of that photo of you guys writing the L.
Calm down. I want to make sure when Rick calls in.
Just your regular number?
A real photo, not a.
Oh, you mean like we actually go to the front of the car?
Yeah, we actually write the L.
T-Mac, it's not a fake one. It's a drawing. You know what I mean? It's art.
Well,
Hello?
In the air, served softly.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
I
you.
can hear you in the phone.
Put your head.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're very raspy. And I'm getting an amazing echo.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that. It might be because the echo is because we're so close.
I can't hear you at all.
The echo is because we're going through my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
So in other words, you can hear me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rick's voice is going to be your voice right now, not mine. You called me, so when you talk into your phone, that's what you get from Rick.
So this is what I'm going to get from Rick.
Talking to your phone.
Hello?
Hello.
So I'll get a
So I'll
little
get a
bit
little
of
bit
a
of
delay.
delay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I think we can work with that.
Okay. I just wanted to show you what we're going to get.
Yeah.
So we're not.
I don't think we have another choice at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else we could possibly do. I can't do anything to change it, but I wanted you to be able to hear.
So Matt Shaw knocks in the run. And now it's Carson Keller. Two aboard and two out.
That way, during the show, you're not. There's an echo.
Yeah.
There's this.
How will it be out here, though? Will it be funky for them to hear?
No, they'll hear the same little echo.
Okay.
I feel like if Carson gets a little blue base hit here, Sprayer's head is just going to roll off. Yeah, it's been frustrating for him, and he's definitely he's had some legit beats with Ramon De Jesus. Yeah, because you were turning money. He switches. The ball that Suzuki obviously was crushed. He was ready to home, man. There's a lot of soft contact. He's falling for hits for the Cubs here today.
Anything new on the menu?
I think I've had one meal in 3 days. I just don't feel like eating. Don't feel like doing anything.
RBI single to left to score Justin Turner. don't score because Justin's got to hang up a little bit to make sure the ball's not caught. Not on you. Working awfully hard. Spring just 77 pitches. Still in the third inning. Look at it. Yeah.
Way and now they're loaded and an opportunity for Ian Happ.
We got Treviso on fire.
Nothing coming easy for Springs here today. Trying to pick up lines and just grinding out at bats. I know it's kind of a cliche, but that's exactly what they're doing here. It's the fourth walk they've accepted.
Okay, I'm okay right now. It's a little slow. Alright, bye-bye.
Swanson at third, Shaw at second, Kelly at first. Pitch. That's a little bit high. All right, we have information. You ready?
Yeah, and they changed the whole.
Swings the bat 3.9% of the time.
Yeah, you gotta-
They right-handed bat. You nailed it, Boone.
But you know, so they've added these points now where you can redeem the points for dollars, or you can buy.
Completely made it up. It is what I thought.
I've got like saw blades.
Two balls, no strikes on Ian Happ. Here comes. Popped up. Left side. Foul round of Reese. The other railing. And he can't make the catch.
So I bought like saw blades and stuff.
Anything new on there?
Netting.
No, I'm probably gonna go with the wings.
One and quarters forever.
He was definitely battling the sun, but fully secured it. Blue light for Happ, the 2-1. Broke his back, lifted it in the air, left field, and round. Cubs leave him loaded, but they do add a run. It is 5-0 midway to the third.
I always send like customers over there.
3-2.
Well, it's not really the one I
Todd takes Prevagen for his brain, and this is his story. Hi, I'm Todd. I'm a veteran of 23 years. I served 3 overseas tours. I love to give back to the community. I saw a Prevagen commercial and did some research on it. I started taking Prevagen about 3 years ago. I've told my coworkers and family since taking Prevagen how much of a difference it's made in my life. I feel really good. Prevagen for your brain. Spring starts with savings at the Home Depot. Start your spring early saving.
Why would I use Hims to have my EDS delivered to my door? I love pharmacy plans.
Larry, is there something that we can do in the future or equipment we can buy to make that better when somebody calls in?
I'm looking to see if I have a wire connection to an iPhone. And then I can hardwire it into the pool.
Okay.
There's a spot to do it. I can see if I have the right connection.
It's not like auto charger, is it?
Well, it goes from the auto, like a charger to a headphone.
So it's not like a charger.
No, it has an audio jack on the other side. We were each given one when we bought our phone
Oh yeah.
years ago. mess with it today.
You want to take it home?
Yeah, let me take it home and I'll mess
Is your car unlocked? You want to leave it in there now?
Yeah, it's not locked.
Do you want the other speaker too, or just the one that?
The most I'm going to be able to do is one.
Okay. Well, I told you the other one has to be tethered to it.
Oh,
One of
then
them's-
put both of them.
One of them's a dumb speaker. One of them's a smart speaker.
Okay. Put them both in.
Sharp in the second. Leadoff walk to Butler here in the third, so you can get back on point. Third home run of the year for Brent Rooker, second in this series. He had 39 long balls last year.
You got it?
Yeah, try and call.
Call you again?
Yeah, try and call me again.
Cutter just backed up a little bit. Trying to go to the outside corner, played it down a little bit, but it's middle.
Hello.
No, the leadoff walk kind of gets you in that mindset where you got to get back into the strike zone. So
No, it's not working.
the other.
I think I've tried. It's not working.
Did you accept it? Hello? Hello? I can hear a little something.
Yeah, but it's coming through my speaker, not coming through the board.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay. Nope. Okay.
I'll play with it at home and see.
When, all right.
I'll be able to get it done.
I had to help you out with the going. He's the one and only from around here. Around these parts.
Suffering.
What's going on?
Pollen is killing me.
Are you always that way, or just this
It's
year?
been a lot worse. Yeah.
Well, it's been worse this year, so.
Saturday, I didn't get out of bed till 3 in the afternoon. Just sapped every bit of energy I had. I walked Monday and it about killed me. I didn't walk today. I think I'm going to join the rec center tomorrow and go walk inside. So Squirt Jr. backed out on us.
What's that?
Squirt Jr. backed out on us.
Squirt Jr.?
Adam's friend.
Oh, is that who was supposed to be the third?
Called at 4, said, I had something come up. So we got a surprise guest from the West.
A surprise guest from the West. That sounds good.
Rick's going to call in.
Oh. Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
How do you think that'll work?
Well, we tried it a little bit. He's
There's delays.
a slight delay
Slight delay.
when he talks. But I sent him the agenda and everything. We'll see how it works. If it doesn't work off, we'll cut him off.
Kyle made effective use of the changeup.
He was nice enough to give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Trying to go cutter in maybe.
Got no guests for the 7 o'clock show. The girls all backed out.
What girls were we supposed to have?
Track girls. Callie and Annalise.
What
And
time
at
are you
least
guys
was-
wanting to go on the go live Saturday?
Huh?
What time are you guys wanting to go live?
We were just
Saturday?
talking about that earlier. About 9, we
About
thought.
9?
Is that all right with you? Do it for like an hour and a half.
So one of our Optimus functions is this weekend. It's the pancake breakfast, the bunny breakfast. So I will be at the bunny breakfast at 7 a.m. setting everything up and then just
Dart over there.
bailing on them at some point to come on over.
All right, Larry and I had another argument last week, and you need to settle the score.
I fucking love doing this. Don't tell me which one of you thought won. Just give me my
All right.
2 options.
So one of us suggested that
I already know what's going on. Go ahead.
as
One of us.
as well as the 10 draft picks,
Yeah,
we should also do a Falcons pick.
absolutely.
See, but how are we going to do that without making picks 11 through 14?
You know, we'll presume the Falcons are trading up to 11 or 11, 12, and 13 are all so dumb they're leaving us who the fuck we wanted.
How about 14?
Is that what?
No, Falcons 15.
Okay, well, same thing.
But maybe we just talk about who we want them to get at 15,
There you go.
based on the 10 that have already been picked.
And, you know, I've contemplated this over the last couple of years. You know, having fans, like find a Browns fan, you know, you really couldn't get better than that. It's, you know, it's, of course it'd be, you know, whatever, but, you know, okay, we're awful. We're really, you know, you get a little bit more because, you know, if you were to hear Rittersdorf talk about the needs of the Chargers, it might leave you bored. When Rittersdorf is talking about what his Patriots need,
And
it's
he's
probably
passionate about
very
it.
passionate, very passionate.
Yeah, but what happens when you get a trade in there?
Well, it's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah. I think we've got our 10 filled out.
Look at his numbers, about 14% career average for him swinging at the first pitches, which is well below the major league.
1 week since you looked at me, tucked your head to one side and said I'm sorry.
To be more aggressive, they feel like when things are not
Hold, and that'll make a hood wink. I make you stop and think. You think you're looking at Aquaman. I summon fish to the dish like a
That's
shell,
on Chuck's list of
never hit the frying pan.
245 favorites.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes?
1 week,
like
and then what's
the
called?
rhymes?
Is it Hook?
Huh?
Who's a Hook? No,
Bare naked ladies.
Bare Naked Ladies, yeah.
Now,
Hook
the
is
song-
Blues Travelers.
Yeah,
is what I
now
mean.
the hook is definitely one of Robert's 245.
Greatest harmonica solo in the history of rock. I love it.
I don't know. I might have a couple to argue with that one. I was doing my walk earlier today, and when Stevie Wonder hits the first part, and he goes, "Further, further, further, can I play? Further, further, further." I said, "Can I play?" He starts to go down. Love that man.
Stevie's good.
Love me some Stevie.
I can't get the list to connect.
Hold and that'll make a hood a wink. I'll make a stop thing. You think you're looking at Aquaman. I saw my fish to the dish like a shell, with like a sushi, and never hit the frying pan.
A lot of times, guys that don't swing the first pitch will get a pitch hit early.
Saw them a long time ago. They were good.
I used to love to play that when I DJ'd. It was a good casino song.
Right?
Yeah.
And on base, numbers for
That, and if I had $1 million,
Oh, yeah.
I'd buy you a house.
But not a real big house. That's cruel.
I've had one meal every day for the last 4 days. I just don't feel like eating.
This is the first week I've actually started eating since I've been out of the house.
Oh, yeah?
I think I've been like, it's been losing. This week I'm like, yeah, another family size of Nutter Butters. That's what I need right now. Luckily for me, my 85-year-old dad eats the shit out of them too. So
I bought some ice cream today for the first time, but I haven't eaten anything.
no, when you don't feel good, it ain't easy to do that.
Got 2 T-shirts laying on my bed just filled with phlegm. All I do is lay there and cough. Lay there and hack.
Well, you know what, tried to hook up
Oh.
And Spence deals outside.
Yeah, he let us know about 4:15. And I just started calling everybody.
No clue. I'll go burger and broccoli, medium.
Captain Jack.
We'll get you high tonight.
Maybe it'll give me some energy. That's what I was hoping.
That's usually not what happens when you get high tonight.
Yeah.
Well, Captain
So
Jack
for the
will
7 o'clock
get
show,
you.
I thought we'd have Will on.
Okay.
We'd do a history of KSU football leading into the spring game.
Sounds good to me.
The police force were out in force Friday to watch Callie throw. It was cool.
Was it?
Bill was there and all. Yeah. I said, Bill, we keep running each other at sporting events. He just laughed. He told his assistant, yeah, last time was in Green Bay.
Thank you, kind sir.
How you doing? You okay?
I'm good. My daughter says she's good. I'm good. Did you go out on a date last Thursday?
No, I texted her when I got home Wednesday. She said, oh, I can't wait to go out. I said, fantastic. I texted her Thursday morning, never heard back from her.
I'm really looking forward to being single.
Last week you forgot to pull the wires from over there.
Oh, you never plugged in. You told me
No, I
we
said
didn't plug
next
in.
week we were going to try it,
Oh,
but they were still plugged in.
they were still plugged in. No, I
Doesn't matter.
well, but I remember saying something to you, and you were like,
I said
"Oh, wait."
next week we're going. If this week works, we'll try it next week. But
They're still in.
they're still in. So.
Larry, hand me a few of those napkins, would you?
Oh, didn't that make it hoodwink?
I mean, they didn't even bother to unplug it.
It's because everybody figured it was somebody else's and didn't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it. I don't care. The only person who would have been smart enough to mess with it is Sean, and he probably was like, I ain't fucking with it.
The only thing he opened was a stain that ordered back on truck.
Whew.
I didn't realize that was that.
Since we don't have a third guy, I got this cut off.
Oh, cool. Well, and that's something we're probably going to have to tweak a little bit anyway when it comes to the coaches show. I don't know that even if the coach is on the end, the table might have to get all the way out. I might have to slide down all the way because I don't know that you want people, a waitress constantly coming in and being, I don't know. Especially if this is centered and we're doing something here. Or,
Yeah, we're actually for those shows. It depends. We may move the camera back so we can get. Except for then we can't go I think this screen is just going to be for live.
Okay. Well, even if, I mean, close up, not close up, if that screen's on and we're still visible, that's pretty cool. You know, where it can just show little stuff.
If we can get an intern or two, but at least one, I would love to also be doing a second stream from Instagram for the coaches show, because that's where all the kids are going to be watching.
And we need to start an Instagram and a Twitter, correct?
And an X.
We have one, but we don't have control of it, so we should probably just start again, right?
We should do an X too. Well, that
Yeah,
is
that's
Twitter,
yeah,
right?
correct.
That's Twitter. Like I said, we got Facebook. I think I may have set them up, but we didn't do anything. I know
Yeah.
I did with
Because Carrick said he's got like 3,200 followers on X or something. If we could get a platform up on X.
Yeah, we
Well,
just got to post. I mean,
Correct.
that's the thing.
Hashtag owls. Hashtag.
Owls. Who's Owls?
This guy I
Oh,
know.
Owls. Just like somebody else did. Girl I took to the KSU basketball game and they were doing Owl's ball. She said, "Who's Owl?"
Whose ball is it? It's Al's ball. Where's Al?
This guy New GM or something?
Oh, I think that's a wannabe new GM.
Oh yeah.
Seems a little young to be moved up.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. They had
Pretty good selection of 54s.
54 was lots of good stuff.
Yeah. What week since you looked at me?
Chuck, what'd you order?
Captain Jack's. I don't know that I can eat it. I need some extra. Need some energy. It ain't no fun just laying in bed. You just can't stand up, and you're weak, and you feel like you're gonna fall over.
Yeah, that's not good.
Nope. And the Athletics are no longer the Oakland Athletics. They're just the Athletics. That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, we're at Sacramento this year, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
no, but once he had everything he needed, it was like, it was so fast, in fact, that Bill couldn't paint anything. We did a structural repair.
I mean, I called everybody yesterday. I mean, I bet I called 50 people to be on the show.
Oh.
And everybody was busy. Everybody. Al's show, too. What are you looking for?
Just like last week, I thought I had a pen.
I got all mine written down already. I don't need anything.
And I can't see him because we already put the fence up and everything else on the other deck. We're like blowing way past it. We're on different. We had already moved 3 jobs down, and he's still on that first one. I'm like, what are you doing? It does, but what? I mean,
But that man on the ground, so here they are. This is what they are. Yeah. Yeah. So we put this fence over, can't see into over here because it's right.
Hey, hey, hey.
Good, how are you?
Larry pushed a button. We're getting close.
It's when he presses a button and his eyes go like this. That's the good stuff.
I miss listening to the song.
Me too.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Miller's Ale House. It's pollen week here in Atlanta, and it's not nice outside. It's very warm, and it's very polleny, and it's getting the best of me. So we'll struggle through today. My name's Chuck Burge. We're here with three guys who love sports, the show that supports men that are going through mental and physical issues and help take their mind of what they're going through for an hour a week. And if we help for an hour and you help for an hour and everybody helps each other, this world will be a better place. So here with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kennedy. Robert, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
You're looking great. Did you get your hair cut?
I did. I got my ears lowered last week, and
Yeah.
luckily I am not pollen guy, so
I am.
my life is not ill-affected.
I don't think my life ever was until the last couple of years, but man, it hit me like a ton of bricks this weekend. But we're here. We're going to get through it. What'd you get to eat tonight here at Miller's?
I went back with old standard burger and broccoli.
Well, we talked about this off the air. When you don't feel good, you don't feel like eating. So I haven't eaten much, so I'm going to get some dessert, Captain Jack's, and see if it'll help sweeten me up and maybe give me a little energy.
I don't even really want to think about anything trying to sweeten you up.
Yeah, it's not an easy task.
No.
Larry, how about you, buddy?
I went with the wings tonight. I went garlic parmesan.
Garlic parmesan. Wow. I don't know. We've had those before. Hey. So we got a lot to talk about, NCAA and baseball and a little bit of football. But first, let's get a commercial going.
Have you on in a second?
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about it next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up. But you can lock in a price today and take this final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of this final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you, so please contact our friend Ron and his team at 440-561-0758. That's
What
right,
number is that?
the big number on the screen.
The big screen on the number?
561-0758.
And thank you, Ron Smith, for being the sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. And we're going to try something a little different today. We had a local guest, and I don't know, he had a last-minute emergency. He had to go to an OBGYN appointment or something. So we thought we would try to hook in an old friend, Rick Limpert, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. So look at him cheering for Rick. Rick, you there, buddy?
Hey, Chuck, how you doing?
Good.
How you doing, Rick?
Good. Are you saying an old friend like I'm old, or an old friend like we've known each other a while?
All the above.
Somewhere in the middle there, Larry. Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. That's perfect. Yeah. All right. So good. Good to hear your voice, buddy.
So what's it like living the limelight out there in Vegas? I mean, I've never seen a guy post more pictures with more celebrities than you, my friend.
Well, I don't know about that, but just imagine your 3 or 4 day trip to Las Vegas. Living here is nothing like that. So. I mean, it is like any other big city with traffic and problems and work issues, but exciting and good for me. And but I miss my buddies in Kennesaw.
Well, we missed you too, but let me tell you, I always look forward to seeing what they're offering the media for lunch or dinner.
Yeah, Rick has some great posts.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
We haven't had any Chick-fil-A media lunches yet, so I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah.
Well, send us a package when you get one. That's great. All right, so let's get into some sports. Obviously, first thing we're going to talk about is the Braves. What a horrible start the Braves are off to.
Pathetic, But, there's a reason why they play 162 games. I'm not saying we're getting ready to rattle off 14 in a row, but in the game of baseball, you can lose 7 in a row and win 14 in a row. So we'll see what happens.
But, this losing streak is 2 games longer than any losing streak they've ever started the season with and still made the playoffs. So they're already 2 games beyond the 4 they lost in a row and still made the playoffs. So are they done?
No, their best player and their best pitcher are coming back, right, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a weird start to the baseball season for a lot of teams, and I think injuries are playing a big role in that for a lot of teams, and suspensions, and maybe players coming back from injury. It's a long season. It is a marathon, and
Not a
you
sprint.
can't. I heard somebody say it the other day. You can't win the division the first week in the season, or the first month of the season, but you can surely lose it.
Absolutely. One of my favorite phrases.
They're doing everything they can to fill that out. 1 earned run in 4 games. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is what it is. We don't have a lot of cohesion in the lineup right now. Obviously, Jurex and Profar probably deserves to give his entire contract back and go hit a soup kitchen somewhere. But with Acuna and the team will be ready in a little while. It's just not the way we wanted to start the season.
137 average. That's not too good.
No. But once Acuna's in the lineup, even if he's only doing this, he's getting some of the other players better pitches as well.
Yeah, and he's hitting like 231, and he's top dog.
Who? Acuna?
Ozuna.
Acuna.
I mean, Ozuna. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ozuna is not our, not even close to our best hitter. So we're going to come around.
Yeah, we talked about last week, catcher may be a problem, and I think the first game, the Padres stole 6 or 7 bases.
Well, the very first game, the Padres went over the fence and caught 2 home run balls, including our rookie catchers. He should have had a home run on his very first game ever. So some things happen to you. They they did some great defensive plays that first game, and and we haven't done much since then. So.
And of course,
Tough way to start the season with a road trip at San Diego and LA. So. But everyone's got to do it, and you're gonna play the Marlins a bunch of times coming up. So you're really gonna have to make hay on some of those other teams.
Yeah. Well, for every cold team, there's got to be a hot team, and there's 2 of them out west with you, Rick. Between the Padres and the Dodgers, they're 13-0.
Yeah, the Dodgers are just incredibly loaded. I don't see a weakness anywhere on that team, and they're healthy. And, maybe the Padres are maybe a year later than what people thought. They were a hot pick maybe the last couple years. Maybe they finally arrived, and it's definitely the Wild West when it comes to National League Baseball. And, you kind of know the teams that are going to be there, I think, come postseason. So I think it's about, as we've seen in past years, whoever's the healthiest.
You're absolutely right. And, the other thing is that maybe those teams are so good because they're playing the Braves.
Yeah, so Rick out there, have you seen, what is it, the new torpedo bat? Is that what it's called?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen the torpedo bat, Rick?
I haven't seen one in person, but I saw the Yankees beat up on my Brewers with some torpedo bats. And I see some other, they've shown some other players in batting practice trying one out. I guess right now it's going to be legal. And these are your MIT and Caltech scientists at work, and I'm building a better baseball bat. I can't believe someone didn't think of this or take the measurements on this earlier. But is Major League Baseball going to turn into college baseball here soon, Robert?
Hopefully we don't go aluminum or anything crazy
no, if
like
they go
that.
aluminum, this game's over.
But at the end of the day, this is physics. It might seem odd to everybody who isn't a physicist, but
is that all this torpedo bat is? Just, is the shape's the same, everything's the same?
Well, no, but it's the end of the bat. So when it tapers back in at
the
end of
hitting end?
At the very end, when you look at it, instead of it going all the way to the barrel, it changes the sweet spot. And whenever you see a slow motion replay of a guy hitting the ball, there's always that shot where you see the bat give, where the bat gives just a hair and does a little bend. With the shape of a torpedo bat, it does not bend as much.
The ball bends, but not the bat.
So at the end of the day, I was reading something earlier, and they said, well, it might get outlawed and everything else. I wouldn't doubt if if nobody uses a regular bat 5 years from now, because it's science. This is going to be, whether it's allowed or not allowed, it's definitely the wave of the future if it doesn't get banned.
So it's not a Louisville Slugger bat.
It could be. It's just the design of the bat. All it has to do is retaper at the top. So, it goes out and then it comes back in.
Kind of like a bishop's head?
A bishop's head, yes, maybe.
Yeah. No, like on a chess game.
I could be wrong. But wasn't there a softball bat kind of design like this years ago? That,
I think there was.
That maybe has kept on a little bit, but I think someone had this design years ago, but they never could implement it or never thought of it for wood.
Right, and supposedly with what I was reading, the MIT physicist, he kind of drew this out 10 years ago, and nobody's ever messed with it. And he introduced it to spring training last year, and this year it's just kind of taken off again.
Now, but it's not Louisville Slugger making the bats. Who is it?
Anybody can, it's just the shape of the bat. It's not a
manufacturer.
It's not a manufacturer of the bat. It's the shape of the bat that makes the difference. So I'm not telling you Mizuno and Louisville Slugger are making or aren't making, but I'm sure that factory could be retooled rather quickly.
Are the majority of bats in the MLB still Louisville Sluggers?
I would say the majority are, but there's other companies. There are probably 30% or something like that aren't.
That aren't Louisville Sluggers?
Yeah, something like that.
That's cool. So in the American League, is anybody really standing out? I know your Brewers just won their first game, right, Rick?
Yeah, yesterday finally. I mean, the Yankees have a nicely loaded team. The Red Sox are better. I think we can talk about torpedo bats all day long, but what it's going to come down to as always is pitching and now relief pitching, and so many starters are injured. We'll see who's got pitchers left at the end of the year. I think the Brewers have already said they're looking at calling up a couple Double-A guys. I mean, there's always been a shortage of good pitching. Now I think there's just a shortage of pitching, period.
I agree.
Unless you're a Dodger.
Unless you're a Dodger.
Yeah.
I think everybody on that team could pitch if they had to.
Watching Big Red go last night, I can remember, I'm a fantasy baseball nerd, and I remember watching the kid in 19 and was at a game where he was pitching, and I think he started Game 7 of the NLCS in 2020 out in Arlington. I was at. Yeah, and, watching that kid pitch and thinking, he's the 5th or 6th best guy on the team. It's just amazing. It's amazing what they have out there.
It is.
I saw a video yesterday, guys, of Bartolo Colon getting loose in Mexico.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
He probably wants that torpedo bat. He could hit the ball pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
You put one of those in his hand.
Yeah, he can pitch and bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Been a while since Bartolo's been around.
Yeah, but if there's no pitching, hey, bring Jesse Orozco back too.
Jesse Orozco. Yeah. Wonder who's still at. Wonder Maddox and Glavin doing. They might want to come back and throw. Yeah.
Chicks dig the long ball. I don't know what they're up to right now.
Yeah, it's.
I heard Pascal Perez is somewhere on 285. You can find him.
He's still on 285.
Yeah, he's still rolling around. All right. Well, man, we hope the Braves get things straightened out quick. Don't think it's going to happen tonight. Going against Snell, 2-time Cy Young winner, and we've got we brought some Bryce Elder up from the minors to pitch because we lost another pitcher for a long time, right?
We've lost a lot.
Yeah.
We've lost more than just the games in the standings.
Yeah, it's
and they DFA'd Jesse Chavez. What's going on?
You're right, because of everything else with Profar, we had to drop a pitcher so that we could bring a hitter, and hopefully he clears waivers and comes back to us for the 19th time in his career. Yeah. But he's amazing. I'm glad we always have him.
Me too. All right, let's get a couple commercials in. We'll talk some hoops.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury law. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095. That's right, 706-217-2095.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol products.
And we thank you, Brian. We thank you, Joshua, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. And again, apologize for my pollen voice, but we'll suffer through. Let's move on to some basketball. Some good basketball this past weekend. What surprised you most, Rick?
That we have 4 number 1 seeds. I mean, that's a rarity.
Only 2 times.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows that these top teams, it is top heavy, and I've liked Houston all along, and Duke has just really been impressive. So kind of surprised that Alabama maybe faded a little bit there. I thought they were pretty loaded. And Tennessee maybe ran out of gas a little bit too. So, but surprised we got 4 number 1 seeds, but I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I thought last week Adam told us that happened last year, but he was wrong about that too.
Yeah, it was like 08 or something.
It was 08, yeah. But I really loved what Houston did to Tennessee. I mean, they shut them down.
Dismantled them.
15 points, I think, in the first half.
15 points in the first half.
Unbelievable game. This Duke-Houston game is going to be really something special to watch, I think. Both play very, very good defense. I think Alabama scored 53 points less against Duke than they did the previous game or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very intense. Rick, what's the money out in Vegas? Is it heavy on Duke?
Yeah, it is heavy on Duke. Yeah. I played Houston back when they were, I think, 13 or 14-1 shots. I got Houston. Maybe that's why I'm rooting for them. But I think maybe Robert, and if you look, maybe you have the numbers. I don't have exactly. Duke is a young team, but the other 3 teams left are age average 21 to 23. I think these are men playing still that are being well compensated now. And I think experience, and if you look at some of the players on Auburn and Houston, they look like NBA players.
You're absolutely right, and that is the thing, where guys used to always have to leave school early to go get some money. Now all of a sudden they don't have to. I saw a stat the other day that said the Auburn Tigers are an older team than the Atlanta Hawks currently, right now. And you start thinking about that. It's like, how is that even a thing? But it's a real thing. So I was really blown away. There's so many close games, but then when we got to the Elite Eight, what Houston was able to do to Tennessee and what Duke was able to do to Bama, just throttling both of them. Clearly, if they played again, they probably wouldn't beat both of those games by 20, but that is going to be an exciting matchup of styles that just do not jive. Duke wants to score 95, and Houston wants to keep you under 50. So
do you see the winner of that as the winner overall, Rick?
Of Duke and Houston?
Yeah.
Most definitely. I think that whoever survives that second game on Saturday night is going to be a heavy favorite, I think. And and don't look past Duke. I mean, Shire has done a great job assembling kind of that talent quickly, young talent on Duke. But what's your opinion, Chuck, we got Bruce Pearl and Kelvin Sampson, 2 coaches that have served suspensions and show of cause suspensions in college basketball back. doing what they usually do, but now it's all legal. So how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Calvin Sampson's a great guy. I think he's gotten close before. I was watching the highlights of the Lorenzo Charles tip-in today when they beat Houston in 1983 when Valvano won. He's running up and down the court, doesn't know which way to go.
He's looking for somebody to hug.
Looking for somebody to hug. Yeah, that was fantastic. I think Houston's been close. I picked 3 brackets, Rick, and then 3 of them I had Florida winning 1, Duke winning 1, and Houston winning 1. I'm not going to win any of them because of the earlier games I picked. I mean, like you said, when 4 number 1s make the team, make the Final Four, it's not that hard to pick a winner. 1 out of 4 people are going to have the winner because it's just the way it is this year. And I think it's got a lot to do with NIL and the cream rising to the top, the same it is in football.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Usually, people who don't pick a lot of brackets pick all the number 1s. So there were a lot of people. Not to say Palmquist or anybody else who did it this year is a bum for doing it because they got
Mike
it.
Pick all ones.
He did, and I don't think that's a normal thing for him either. But at the end of the day, you got 4 1s, and
is he still leading our bracket?
He is not. He's not. But he's got Houston winning. So
if Houston wins, he wins.
He'll be real close. I know Tyson has that as well. But most people have Florida. Most people have Duke. I wouldn't be shocked if that was still the game.
I have Florida beating Duke in the finals, Rick. That was mine. But if you've got Houston at 13-1, man, I'm pulling for Houston.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you come out with that, especially if you put a hundred down. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be a nice little hit for me for Houston winning. I don't root for Houston all year long, but now all of a sudden I am. But another big question, guys, what's the future of mid-major programs now that
no Cinderellas?
That pretty much got dominated? Yeah, wiped off the map, and if they have a good player, they're going to get snatched up by a Power 5 school. So has that made the tournament less interesting, guys?
It has to me. I mean, Kennesaw State experienced that this week when Adrian Woolley, their Conference USA Rookie of the Year, goes to Louisville. And I know that we offered him a pretty good package here in Kennesaw. I know they were talking $200K and a car, and he said he wanted $1 million. So
yeah, and whether he could have gotten more if he'd probably waited a little longer. It's hard to compete with that. But this is the first year that Power 4 were the entire Sweet 16 in both the men's and the women's. And you'll occasionally have your Florida International, but if you do have a good team like they did a couple years ago, all their players are gone. I mean, there's just no way to.
And their coach. And their coach is going to leave too.
Hey, you're absolutely right.
I talked to somebody the other day, said Georgia Southern has 0 players right now. And that's probably par. Yeah. They're not the only school. I know Murray State was that way a couple of years ago too, and Steve was telling me. So the day the coach left, every player left.
And let me ask you this, Rick. I know you've followed NCAA, and how there's such a trailblazer when it comes to leading young men around. But do you think they will ever get a hold of the portal to where the portal doesn't open in the middle of all of the bowl games for football in December and during March Madness for basketball? Will they ever have the gumption to actually step forward and go, okay, let's rework these times and these eras?
Yeah, they're going to have to because coaches are complaining, and I mean, I think there's some simple fixes that can make this. You can't open the portal until the tournament's over. I mean, this is it's a big disadvantage for teams that are still alive. And Tom Izzo said he didn't even look at the portal, and he's in the final 8. And there's other teams that have already had 8 players on campus recruiting. So there's going to have to be some portal tweaks, and I think we said this last year as well. And Chuck Woolley got more than $1 million from Louisville. So so it's a Kennesaw State. They can make their offer, but that guy was gone in November. I mean, you could tell. So, but you hate to see that for the mid majors. So how many great players have come through mid majors over the years? And now they're going to get scooped up after 1 or 2 years. But, the portal needs some serious changes. And and just to be fair for the teams losing players and the teams that are looking to gain players.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's women's coach left today. She said, "I can't put up.
Terrible.
I can't put up with this."
Well, it used to be something when we used to look at it, and objectively, what do I know and what don't I know? That's a different question. But you would look at a coach and you would say, "That's a coach that's better suited for professional sports. That's a coach that's better suited for college sports." And now that line is so blurred. There's a lot of really good coaches who probably are more like high school coaches at this point because the college game it is the pro game. It's a 1A.
Yeah, it is. It's a minor league of the pro game. It really is. And I hate it for people like Petway, and he's probably, there's no reason why he couldn't go too. But all these players that you spend all this time recruiting, and the Woolies, they're going to be numerous now. It's not something that's going to happen once in every 6 or 7 years. It's going to happen every year.
Well, and going back to coaches, as you guys were both stating about how coaches are getting taken away during these runs. If you're able to be at a mid-major and make a run at a tournament, not only do I now know that you're a recruiter because you didn't have the money to pay these players, so you clearly had to recruit them and coach them up. But yeah, if a guy makes a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8 run, it's almost guaranteed that one of these guys in a Power 4, whether it be Minnesota or somebody wants a better coach and says, "Hey, that guy's able to get players. He should be able to get better players with us."
Yep. It's the way of the college sports now. It's money.
We got problems. We got problems all around with this, including one of my pet peeves: the players that won't play in the bowl games or that opt out at the end of the football season because they're getting ready for the NFL. So that's a problem. The portal's a problem. We need a commissioner. We need some more regulation in college sports. So, but we're going to keep losing coaches. We're going to keep losing sports and teams that are going to drop down to Division II and Division III.
Now, Rick, I remember the first time I remember that happening was Christian McCaffrey and decided to skip the bowl game. And, he's gone on to make so much money. Obviously, for him, it was probably the right decision. But I'm with you. You want these people to be playing in these games, and you want the games to have great meaning.
Yeah, bowl games just aren't what they used to be. I mean, there's way too many of them, as we talked about before. But, be true to your school is gone. It's just gone.
Well, and, we always told people to be true to their school, and then coaches were jumping ship and everything else was happening. So, they're just finally allowed the same latitude that everybody else was using. But it's sad. It's sad.
You think Saban would make a good commissioner of college sports?
No. He.
No way.
And once again, it's almost impossible. You think about following. What do we have in football? What were we? We were the 134th. We were ranked 134th. So in football, there's 134 teams that you got to watch at the highest level. And basketball, what is that? It's 450. What a job that is just set up to fail. Well, you didn't do anything. Well, actually, I did a lot, but there's no way that anybody could catch everything.
Yeah. And speaking of football, we got the spring game here this weekend, Rick. KSU spring game, so we're looking forward to that. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about the football history of KSU on our 7 o'clock show tonight, so that should be fun. Back to the basketball for just a second. So, Rick, I guess you're going with Houston now?
Yeah, I like Houston over Duke, and then I like Houston to bury somebody in a very uninteresting championship game. But we'll see. I mean, Duke is like I said, very well coached. I like how that team is put together. They have at least 3 NBA players on that team. But if you look at those Houston Cougars, those guys are men on that team, and well coached and athletic and long and but similar to Auburn. Auburn's good too. I just see the winner of that Houston-Duke game being your odds-on champion.
Well, let's don't discount Florida because they're as deep a team as I've ever seen play the game.
Yeah, I can't remember the word you just used because we've had 5 power failures since you said it. But I don't think that championship game is going to be a foregone conclusion. I think either one of those teams has enough body. Even Auburn, which we could say is possibly the weakest team that's left. What a great team to be considered the weakest team left, and they've got enough size inside where they could play with Houston for a little bit. I think. And
they were the number 1 seed. They
were the number one
seed.
Which
Yeah.
I still don't understand how they got it, losing 3 out of their last 4, but it is what it is.
Yep, it is.
How about women's? You guys follow anything on that side?
Yeah, UCLA.
UCLA.
I picked them before the tournament started.
How about you? What say you, Rick?
I've been winning some money on the women's tournament, believe it or not. So I'm gonna keep going with South Carolina. I think.
I don't blame you.
Dawn Staley. I'm scared of her. Just watching her patrol the sidelines, I'm scared that she's going to chew me out for something. But
I thought Duke had them on Saturday. I watched some of that game. That was a good basketball game.
Duke had them the whole time, and then bam, the stairs started coming down
two
from
good coaches in that game.
But, I said something a few weeks ago on the show. I believe South Carolina is up to about 202-12 over their last 5 years right now. It's 5 straight Final Fours for them, 3 out of 4 titles. They're incredible. Also, a great stat that I heard a couple weeks ago, Rick, it's the only Division I team in men's or women's where the bench outscores the starters for the season.
If you see that one girl that comes off the bench, her last name's Full Wiley.
Oh, yeah.
That girl, I don't know why she's not playing more and she is fantastic. But also, Gino Auriemma is lurking with a nice Connecticut team. They're kind of like the Duke of...
Beckers looks good.
Beckers looks really good.
On the women's side.
Yep.
Beckers looks good. Strong on UConn is the daughter of 2 former college stars, and it's fun to look through the women's roster of some of these teams because a lot of the really good players, their dad or their mom played college or professional basketball. And if I was a college women's coach, I would just recruit kids of former players because they seem to be well schooled. They seem to be very athletic. They seem to have a high basketball IQ, and never sleep on UConn on the women's side.
No, and I actually would like to see UConn win. Anybody other than Dawn Staley, don't dislike her. I'm just ready for somebody else to win. UCLA's got 3 girls that have been there for 3 or 4 years, playing really well together. But I'll pick them, but I'd love to see UConn win.
Yeah, I'm going South Carolina. I think it'll probably be South Carolina versus UConn, and it's just going to be a fun matchup. Anything can happen. Beckers typically doesn't shoot the ball a lot, and this tournament she's decided she wants to shoot a lot. So it'll be interesting.
Yep. All right, let's get a Brain Train commercial in, then we'll move on to our greatest athlete.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
Robert and our good friend Rick Limpert, all the way from Lost Wages. Rick, what is Vegas a better sports town than Atlanta?
Well, we have a lot of national people coming through here. We have these conversations. Las Vegas is definitely the fastest growing sports city, and we're going to have more venues built. They're going to be building an NBA arena. We're going to have an NBA team here in 7 years probably. The baseball will be here in 4 years, 4 years.
Is that definitely going to be the A's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the A's, they have the space cleared where they're going to build the stadium. Vegas has a very successful hockey team. Atlanta has lost 2 hockey teams, so I would say there's a little bit of an I'd say there's a little bit of an edge there. Atlanta and Georgia, the South for college sports is dominant, but as a professional sports city, Vegas is going to be competing or beating a lot of cities. I think the way they're going about it with good owners and local support, but it also, is there any place better to come into to watch your team play than Vegas, I guess?
That's the biggest thing. They're definitely a destination to go watch your team. But what's the population in Vegas, Rick, including the suburbs? Are we at 2.5 million or something for locals?
Yeah, I don't have the slightest. I live in the fastest growing suburb, which is North Las Vegas, and it's just going crazy. I mean, I talked with the mayor a couple times. She's very progressive. I think we're at almost 3 million or maybe over now. It's grown so fast. It can keep spreading out until it hits the mountains, I guess. So.
And then the real question is, will all those people and yourself become A's, Raiders, and Golden Knights fans and everything else, or will you still hold on to your Brewers? Will you only go see the local game when your team shows up? Which, once again, there's going to be so many people with hey, where do you want to go watch the Red Sox play this year? We're going to Vegas. I can only imagine that stadium will be sold out all the time.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of viewpoints on the hockey team. The Golden Knights have a ton of local fans. The locals have adopted the Golden Knights. The Raiders, not so much. There are pockets of Raider fans everywhere, but it doesn't matter which team, I guess, comes in to play the Raiders. It's 40 to 50% or more of the visiting team's fans in the stadium.
Right, which is going to be tough when you're trying to win a championship and you have no home field advantage or home court advantage, depending on the sport.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our greatest athlete, continuing conversations about who is the greatest athlete to wear a certain number, and we're all the way up to 54. I've got several.
Let's hear them, Chuck.
First one is Horace Grant from Augusta, Georgia. Horace, 4-time NBA champ, NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA All-Star second team. Second is Zach Thomas, 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first-time All-Pro, first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year, AFL All-Defensive Team, All-Decade Team in the O's. Brian Urlacher, 4-time first-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowl, 2000s All-Decade Team, and the last one is Goose Gossage, 9-time All-Star, World Series champ with the Yankees, and 3-time seasons saved leader. So some really good players here, but I don't think anybody that extremely stands out. So I could be swayed either way today. But those are the 4 that I looked at. And there were some others out there. The one that amazed me, as I was telling Larry before the show, Fulton Kuykendall was on that list. Old linebacker for the Falcons. But a friend of mine at Six Flags used to date Fulton. Crazy dude is what she said. So, but I couldn't believe Fulton made the list.
What about Randy White? The Dallas Cowboy linebacker, defensive tackle / player,
absolutely,
who won numerous Super Bowls.
Yeah, I saw him on there. I couldn't put a Cowboy on my list.
He actually only won one Super Bowl, but he was a 7-time.
He only won one.
Yeah, he was a 9-time Pro Bowl guy, 7-time All-Pro, and they called him the Manster or Captain Scab. So either way, he was one of those guys. I've always had a fault whenever we were doing these numbers and looking back at the linebackers of the 60s that definitely were a hair slower, a little didn't have quite the stats. But this guy's kind of the missing link. If you go from all those great middle linebackers, the Butkuses and the Huffs, the Nitschkes and the Huffs of the 60s. This guy's the missing link that connects Lawrence Taylor to those guys. He was the one in the middle who was doing all those incredible things. So I'm with you. Randy White is incredible.
Yeah, Chuck mentioned Goose Gossage. Goose Gossage kind of was a feared guy. He was part of that kind of redefining a closer type reliever. In real life, Goose Gossage is an incredibly nice guy. I've met him a couple times, but he was kind of a trailblazer in relief pitching saves. But he pitched longer usually than one inning. That was the difference compared to what we see in relievers now.
And he pitched for like 22 years, didn't he?
22 seasons.
And a bunch. Yeah.
And, obviously Urlacher, Bobby Wagner, a quick shout out. You did mention him, but Horace Grant, Horace Grant was one of the most underrated basketball players, especially on that incredible Bulls run in the early 90s, because he was on the first three, and I believe he got his fourth title when he was playing with Shaq and Kobe.
At the Lakers. Yep.
And but here's a guy who you're going to look at and you're going to go, oh, he's a role player. Man, can you sign me up to give me a bunch of role players that are that good? Because that guy was intense and good.
On the list I looked at, he was the second best player ever to come out of Clemson.
That's quite easily possible.
So I don't know. I mean, I can be swayed either way with any of those. Even Randy White, because he was a great athlete.
What I like about this one. Now, Randy White played his entire career for one team, so guess what? He had the same number the whole time. Horace Grant played for 5 different teams, had that number for all 5 teams, which is pretty awesome because, I'm a stickler for how often did you wear that number and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I got to give it up for the Goose, who never wore a number besides 54. So he was a White Sox, he was a Pirate, he was a Yankee, he was a Padre, he was a Cub, he was a Giant, he was a Ranger, he was an A, he was a Mariner, and he did all of them with the number 54 on his back. So I'm going with the Goose.
I'm going to go with the Goose too.
When you walk in, they go, what number do you want? I gotta have it, man. It's the only thing I work with.
Well, and it's funny because he was number 12th on the list that I saw, but said, how can he be down that low, given everything Goose did?
He's a Hall of Famer too. So, Goose. What does that say when you have that same number, Robert, for all those teams? Were there other players giving up their numbers out of respect for Goose, or how does that work?
I think generally speaking, it means that
nobody liked 54.
Your original team did not think that highly of you and gave you a number that they didn't expect you to do anything with, and because you did succeed, you just started going for it. So yeah, I don't think he had to buy 54 from anybody. I think he probably just walked into that one. It's always kind of fun when the Yankees. I remember back when Jeter was a rookie, and nobody knew anything about Jeter because we weren't internet hounds, and we didn't do this and then we didn't do that. But when you see a Yankee come out wearing the number 2, and you know that 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all retired, that's saying something. When you're handing somebody number 2, you're handing somebody 54. You're not sure they're going to be on the team bus 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Goose, with a close second to Horace Grant. He played on a lot of teams, and Jordan said he was one of his favorite teammates. So, Rick, you going to stick with Randy White?
Well, I would have said Goose myself, and then probably Randy White second, probably. Two really well-respected players. And then Horace, like you said, for people that know basketball, Horace Grant is very highly respected in basketball circles. So I think those 3 in that order.
And those are my 3 in that same exact order.
Same here, yeah. All right, cool. Well, we got a couple of more commercials before we get to our last segment. Let's get those over.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Access has 3.5 Atlanta locations waiting for you in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile Axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at upcoming events and festivals and look them up at American Access or give them a call at 678-763-3635.
Where?
The big number on the screen, 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
Are you looking for a ride that's more than just transportation? Experience the revolution in luxury travel with Revere Black Car Service. Whether it's a trip to the airport, corporate travel, weddings, daily commutes, or a ride to the KSU game, our Black Car Service delivers comfort, style, and reliability. Ride in a premium luxury vehicle with professional chauffeur dedicated to exceptional service. Enjoy all the amenities while indulging in a first-class experience designed just for you. Whether you're heading to an important meeting, catching a flight, or celebrating a special occasion, Revere Transportation gets you there in style. Join the revolution and book your ride today at RevereRides.com. And we thank you, Travis Loudermilk and Dan Fisher, for being sponsors of Three Guys Who Love Sports, and also the Owl Show.
Every show we talk on.
Yeah, they're good folks.
They are good folks.
So happy to have them around, and happy to have Rick with us today. Been a long time, so we've been able to talk sports with Rick, and really nice of him to join us for Vegas. Rick, does the football talk ever stop in Vegas?
Heck no. I don't think the football talk stops in Dubuque, Iowa. I mean, it's NFL season is a 12-month season now, as we see. And, of course, they're having their annual meetings in Florida this week, so some news has been popping out of that. And if you have a satellite radio, the NFL network there on 88 on satellite radio does a great job of filling in all the NFL gaps. And there is news every day out of the NFL. It's amazing how that happens.
I love Sirius XM Channel 88 as well.
I wish I had it, and I'm serious about that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So I know Cam Ward had a pro day at University of Miami where he said afterwards, "I clearly am the number one player." What do you think about that one, Rick?
I like that. I like the quarterback that is all about himself, and I think maybe that's been lacking with these last few quarterback drafts. I don't know how good Cam Ward's going to be. I think he's all right. My sleeper still pick in NFL quarterbacks is the Alabama quarterback.
Milroe?
I think he translates somewhat better to the NFL than people realize, and someone's going to get a steal from him in the second, third, fourth round. Keep an eye on Milroe.
Boy, I
don't know why.
I hope the Falcons take him at 15.
Pardon me?
He's hoping the Falcons take him at
15.
I just kicked him. It's okay.
There's no way that's going to happen.
Well, when you look at Jalen Hurts, I've never been super Jalen Hurts guy. I tried to read an article a couple weeks ago where the guy was saying clearly he's the best player on that team and the reason why that team wins. I don't think that's personally true, but there's no reason to think that he couldn't bring more to the table than Jalen is currently doing. So that's a great number, or a second day. We'll say a second day pickup.
So, and it's amazing already. The draft shows are already, the mock drafts are already on every day now. It's crazy. I saw Shedeur Sanders dropped as far as 4th or 5th. I don't think he'll drop that far. I think Hunter and Sanders are probably going to be the way it goes. But who knows? Who knows who's going to trade and what?
Well, I know the Browns are still in purgatory with every dumb thing that they've done at the quarterback position and stuff. But the one thing that I've seen a few times is bumping Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State. And, you think about that team, that defense has basically led the team for the last 5 or 6 years while they've had all this circus-like stuff on the offense. With
Deshaun Watson and all that stuff.
So if you were to bring Carter to that team, man, you really have fortified it. But, it'll be interesting to see what they actually do.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think?
The
Cousins?
player I love, guys, is the Penn State tight end.
Oh yeah, I saw an article on him today.
That dude can play. He can ball. Whoever gets him is adding to the number of great tight ends that are currently in the NFL.
Warren,
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren. Yeah.
6'6", 256.
Yeah. I saw him going at 10 today in a mock draft, but we'll see what happens.
The one I'm looking at right now has him going 14 to the Colts. So who really knows at this point, I guess.
Nobody knows. But I look forward to our draft show in 3 weeks. Woo! 3 weeks we'll have our draft show, so we're looking forward to that.
Is there anything that people in Vegas are looking for that the Raiders out of that 6th pick?
Well, they're looking for anything that's going to help that team. I mean, we have a new coach.
Yep.
I think that's excited some people with Pete coming in. I don't know how many years he's still going to coach, but I think that's an upgrade. And we have Bowers. We have a tight end. I mean, Robert, it all comes down to your quarterback's got to ball out, doesn't it? I mean. You got to have a quarterback that's a leader, and then fill in your other skilled positions and gaps, and maybe grab a running back somehow in free agency like the Eagles did with Barkley.
Yeah. Are you happy with Geno coming down there?
I mean, I'm not a Raiders fan, but I think again that's an upgrade. And but do the Raiders have a chance in that division they're in?
Not right now, the way I'm looking at it. But either way, I'm looking at the mock drafts that I'm looking at right now. It has you getting either Sanders or Genty. I don't know
at
that.
6?
Yeah, at 6. I don't know that either one of those is the right pick for you guys. But we'll find out.
I'm a big Ashton Genty fan. I think he'll be successful in the NFL. So,
what's your opinion on Travis Hunter? I personally, Rick, am terrified of a guy who has played that many snaps in college football.
I think he's got potential to be a big star, though. If he picks one side, I think he's a lockdown cornerback, and he could be a good one for a long time. Maybe you inject him on a few gadget plays. We know he can catch the ball. I think he's got a bigger or a potentially more a chance to get injured at wide receiver in the way the NFL is now. But to throw him back there with another good cornerback would be huge for a team.
I don't personally think that at the next level he'll play both ways. Do you think one of these teams will let him go a little bit more on offense, or do you think they'll just put him over on the defensive side?
Well, I think he's got to be defense, and I think there's no doubt that if they see potential to put him in on certain offensive plays, they're going to do it, and hopefully he doesn't get injured on that. The guy is extremely talented. He's extremely athletic. He's extremely smart, and I think say what you want about Coach Prime, Dion. I think he did a great job developing some players there at Colorado. He just got rewarded with that big contract.
Sure did.
And Dion did a great job, I think, in a lot of aspects. I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with there depth-wise for the first year, but he surely had. Shedeur is very mature, smart quarterback. I don't know exactly about arm strength, but I think Travis Hunter can be an all-pro cornerback for years.
All right, cool. So we just got a few minutes left. What do we think about the new rules? Number one, overtime rules. The playoff rules are now the regular season rules. And they shorten the period from 15 minutes to 10 minutes.
Which it was already 10. They wanted to make it 15.
But they
pushed back
10.
And they pushed it back and made it 10.
Yeah. But each team gets a possession.
Well, I think you should have the same rules. I don't think you should have different rules for the playoffs. So I'm good with that one.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's fair for both. But of course, there could be a time when a team has if they have possessed the ball for the whole 10 minutes, what happens?
That's what happens. And at the end of the day, I've seen so many games that ended in a tie. I'm thinking about the Steelers Falcons game with Michael Vick 20 some odd years ago, where they were interviewing Steelers and the guys go, I didn't even know you could end in a tie.
Yeah,
So these guys all don't know the rules. So at least there'll be consistent rules from now on.
Yeah. Yep. The other one I thought was interesting is now touchbacks come out to the 35 instead of the 30. They're saying that's going to increase runbacks from 34% to somewhere between 70 and 75%.
It's a ratio. It's the same thing with
Who is Horatio?
Horatio was Horace's uncle. But at the end of the day, it's like the torpedo bat. It's a mathematics formula. When you watch what's actually happening, you say, okay, if we tweak this, that'll open the door to this. That'll allow this to happen a little bit more. So, we'll see what happens. They're clearly not above changing this rule every year. So don't worry about it too much because it might be a different version next year.
And now they're also
go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of that rule change, like Robert just said. Just stand by.
Yeah, and now we're using Sony Hawkeye to measure first downs instead of the sticks. Again, taking away some of the human element of football.
Well, Rick's a big tennis guy. How long has Eagle Eye been making sure that Jimmy Connors' shot was in? Jimmy Connors was still playing, I think, when this was working. So the idea that football has never adopted something is kind of funny. But, I think, it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's Hawkeye. But, again, I've said for a few years it's not the measurement or the marking, it's the spotting of the ball. The officials, some of these officials, horrible at spotting the ball. That's where the problem is. And until we get somehow we have the technology to do it, but the spotting is the issue, not the measurement of the ball.
So you think it's all the Mr. Magoo's running around the field, putting the ball wherever they want?
Mr. Magoo. And the other rule that I thought was weird: replay officials now on site can reverse calls for hits to defensive players, face mask fouls, horse collars, tripping, and running or roughing the here, but they cannot reverse a call. In other words, they can't add a flag.
You can't add a flag.
Yeah.
You can't, and they're having the same problems with basketball, doing the same thing. I was watching something the other day, and they were like, not a reviewable play. So, but it's, once again, you're taking some of those things that have ended people's seasons and saying, okay, let's get this call right. So
yeah, it's just going to slow down the game, though, right?
It will.
Yeah.
And the tush push is tabled until the May meetings on the banning of the tush push.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just stick with the tush push for now.
Well,
Well, the main meetings are in May. Is that right, Rick?
Yeah, the next meetings will be in May. They'll take the tush push back up at that. And I'm for banning the tush push. It's not a football play. And we'll see if 24 teams realize that or not.
Yeah.
Is that what it has to be, 80%?
Right now it's
It's gotta be
16.
24 out of the 32 have to vote to ban it.
Okay, 66. Okay, gotcha. People made fun of it. I made fun of it. And, the fact of the matter is go draft a big center and do it yourselves. But, maybe it'll be interesting to see. I know you've already thrown some love out there for Alabama's quarterback. Clearly, that's a big old boy who could really benefit from some tush pushing. So, it'll be interesting to see whoever drafts him. I bet votes for the tush push.
Yeah, you think they'll outlaw it?
I don't know that they will, just because I'm with Rick. I don't think it's a football play. I think it's a scrum. I think it kind of lessens what you do. But at the same time, where do you stop? Tom Brady, although he used to jump in the gap and, was one of the greatest of all time at getting a fourth and a foot, he was still getting pushed.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a designed looking, setup where clearly the whole team's ready to push him, but everybody's still been getting pushed. So, and they've really opened up pushing. Pushing used to be illegal. Now all of a sudden your offensive lineman 7 yards
dragging
down
him
the
into
field,
the end zone, yeah.
he can start pushing people. So it's if they do outlaw, it could go a little deeper than people are thinking because pushing has become such an element in the league.
Yes. Rick, any final thoughts from Vegas?
Well, good to talk to you guys. You guys are 3 hours in the future for me, so my work day is not over yet. But I miss talking to you guys and seeing you guys, and waiting on your visit out here, Chuck. And we'll
I'll be
have
in
a
the
great weekend of
suitcase.
sports coming up.
We'd love to come out there sometime. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if you saw, Rick, but Callie Terza was Athlete of the Week, Conference USA. She set a school record for the hammer throw this week. She beat all the guys and all the girls at the track meet on Friday. So she's tearing
Whenever
it
I
up.
want to get my Terza news, I know just to check out Chuck's Facebook account.
There you go.
Because it'll be on there. We get everything on there except for the time she eats breakfast every morning.
I'm working on that.
I know you are. I know you are.
All right, buddy. Well, Rick, we sure appreciate you dropping in with us today, buddy.
Most definitely. Good talking with you, Rick.
Anytime, guys. Robert, thanks. Chuck, always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. And don't forget, guys, know your numbers out there. Cover your ass. Get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week on Three Guys Who Love Sports. That worked out well. Delay wasn't bad at all, Larry.
Delay was worse because we were so close. Because you were hearing it.
Well, no, the delay in the room wasn't maybe great, but his delay being on a phone was pretty.
Pretty instantaneous.
I mean that's what I said when we tested it, Chuck. Because we were so close, we were hearing a lot more delay. But I thought it worked out very well.
Yeah,
I thought it worked out great. It was good to have Rick.
You know, because I've had a bunch of people that I've talked to outside of, that are out of Georgia that would love to be on the show.
Yeah.
We might do some more calling.
Yeah, that was good. My back just went out. Just need a minute before I stand up. I'll try to stand up.
But I thought it worked out well.
Yeah, it worked well.
We have some advance notice to put a little cutout.
I'll pull up the track information.
I've got a little golf, little baseball, little softball, little lacrosse, little track.
That's enough. I've got the 5 people that set Conference USA's.
I got that right there.
Okay.
Sean, does it remind you of being a bartender 20 years ago? I know, I can tell. Yeah, so Alex's dad has his own version of Lent.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't go by what the Catholic Church, There's no Ash Wednesday to. It's supposed to be Ash Wednesday to Good Friday.
Yeah, Good Friday. Yeah.
And so he does like a hybrid thing where he starts a little early, but then I'm going on vacation, so I'm gonna get drunk. And then it changed again. So as of yesterday, he's back in full tilt. Yeah, it's just so funny. If ever there's a religion that allows you to do stuff like that, it'd be Catholicism.
Flexibility.
There's nothing better than Judaism.
Oh, you pick and choose how you want to do it, what you want to do.
Judaism, Yom Kippur, right? That's the Day of Atonement. So you atone for all your sins for the last year, and you start fresh every year.
Have you ever seen the movie Dogma? Happy Jesus. All you gotta do is walk into George Carlin's church. You're saved forever. You don't even have to do anything.
George Carlin was a character.
What a great flick.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miller's Miller's Ale House.
The Mail House.
On a Wednesday, it's a what do you call it? Pollen week outside, and if any of you are suffering from it like me, God bless you, because it's not any fun. My name is Chuck Burge, along with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney, and we're here all to talk about KSU sports. Can I get a big hooty hoo? Hooty hoo! All right. So got a lot going on tonight. Lots happening in the sports world, but first we're going to get a commercial out of the way. And Robert, if you would, with Ron Smith.
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about it next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up. But you can lock in a price today and take this final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of your final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you, so please contact our friend Ron and his team at 440-561-0758. That's right, the big number on your screen, 440-561-0758.
And we thank you, Ron Smith, for being a sponsor of the Owls Show, or the Owls Who Live Sports. Happy to be here. Big week coming up, but let's take a look at the week behind us, and we'll get to that next. Kennesaw State collected 5 Conference USA Athlete of the Week awards for their performances at the Don McGarry Invitational. The conference announced on Tuesday. Justin Warner won the 800 meter in a time of 1 minute 52.97 seconds. That ranks 5th in the Conference USA this season. Warner collected Conference USA Freshman of the Week honors. Chance Cross, I believe we've had Chance on the show before, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Is he a friend of the show?
He is a friend of the show.
All right. Chance earned the Men's Track Athlete of the Week after winning the 200 meter in a personal best time of 20.58 seconds. That ranks tops in Conference USA, 2nd in the NCAA East region, and 5th in the NCAA this season. That's pretty strong. Our very good friend of the show, Miss Callie Terza, was named Women's Field Athlete of the Week. She won the hammer throw with a personal best toss of 64.68 meters, which is 212 feet 2 inches. That mark ranks second in Conference USA, 6th in the NCAA East region, and 12th in the NCAA this season. It also establishes a new school record in the event. Maya Johnson was named Women's Freshman of the Week after winning the 3K steeplechase with a time of 11 hours, 1 minute, and 97 seconds. That can't be right. 11 minutes, 1.97 seconds. Thank you. It ranks 8th in the Conference USA this season. And sophomore Akira Jones was awarded the Women's Field Athlete of the Week honor after posting a personal best time of 13.49 to win the 100-meter hurdles. That time ranks 2nd in Conference USA and tied 11th in NCAA East region and tied for 26th in the NCAA this season. The Owls return to action April 11th to 12th at the Crimson Tide Relays in Tuscaloosa. So congratulations, Coach McDaniel, Mike Judge, and the whole KSU track team.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. You know, I remember speaking with a few throwers before, Miss Terza being one of them, and I believe to get your invitation to Oregon, it's like the top 16. So you know, being that she's right now as top 12, you know, it lets you know, even with a personal best, that's what it takes to get at this next level. But the one thing I was thinking about over and over, because we haven't had her on the show since we had Coach McDaniel on the show, is the 4-step turn.
Yep.
You know, so here's a girl who's been doing what they refer to as a 3-step throw, and she has now just switched to a 4. Well, guess what? I think she's figured it out. So
it's funny.
Only going up from here.
Before the meet, I actually asked Coach Judge, I said, how's Callie doing with her switch from the 3 to 4? He says, really well. We'll find out today. So, and we found out today, 64.68. Congrats, Callie. She was all over Facebook this week, the Kennesaw Police Department, where she's an intern, congratulated her, and well-deserved, Miss Terza.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun stuff, and congratulations to the team. Lots of winning going on. The baseball team, since we talked last, went for a trip down to Ruston, Louisiana. I guess Larry probably knows somebody from there. You know, somebody down on the bayou knows that guy. We dropped our first 2. Oh, I'm sorry. We won our first one and then dropped our next 2. And then we did play Georgia State yesterday, beat them in Marietta. So 2-2 since the last time we talked. That's not too bad. Softball team is looking for some friendly home time here with Western Kentucky coming in this weekend. We have not been looking so good as of late, but I think those red blobs coming to town is exactly what we're looking for. Last week we were in Middle Tennessee and dropped 3 to those
Blue Raiders.
Those blue guys.
Yep.
I don't care about those blue guys.
Or blue ladies in this case.
Yeah, blue ladies, blue guys. However that
we're feeling blue about it. I know that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the only thing worse than the Blue Raiders right now is Dodger blue in my mind, but that's okay.
That's a different story.
That's a different story. Lacrosse team only had 1 game, but we went down to DeLand, Florida, and beat up on Stetson 17-14. Always good when you slap the Hatters around.
Yeah.
So that was a nice win for us. And then there was the golf team, and the golf team went to the Annika More Than Golf tournament, and we finished 7th as a team. So nice showing out there, and like you said, it's all about the coming week, and I know everybody's excited about little Saturday morning football.
Spring football game this Saturday at 11 o'clock. At Fifth Third Bank, and we're going to get into talk about that in a minute, but let's do a couple of commercials, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about the history of KSU football leading up to this game.
Don't forget to mention that we're going to be broadcasting live
at 9 o'clock.
We do not have to mention that because our producer just mentioned it for us.
Exactly.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law, while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury law, and he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they're placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095. That's right, 706-217-2095.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our very best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products. He came in
I pulled this thing up, and it was Coach Mack with his Atlanta United jersey.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So
cough towards Robert.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I covered it. That's it.
No, you didn't cover. You just kind of funneled it towards me.
Oh, good.
Sick day.
Pollen day. It's horrible. Happy to have Brian as a sponsor and Joshua and Tammy Smith up in Dalton. So thank you for all your support of KSU Sports. And we have with us our resident Krebs.
Maynard G.
Krebs.
Everybody knows about
Martin. Everybody knows Carrick. Carrick.
Did you know it's still snowing in Syracuse? I just thought we might want to say that for Adam since he's going there.
I'm excited about shipping him off to the Great White North where it snows even on warm days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that's why Adrian Woolley went to Louisville, because he followed Adam to the ACC?
I'm sure that he wants Adam to cover him in the ACC.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
That's what it was all about.
Yeah.
So we got the spring game this Saturday.
Is the capital of Kentucky pronounced Louisville or Louisville?
No, it's Frankfurt.
You busted me, Chuck. You got too good an education at McEachern High School.
Oh, no, I got that at Kennesaw Junior College. All right, so tell us how this whole football thing started at Kennesaw State.
Well, going back to the late 90s, there was discussion of how do we publicize the school. I was not involved at that time, but they figured out that they needed something to publicize the school. And in the state of Georgia and in the Southeast, you're not considered a real school until you have a football team. And so they started doing preparatory work on what do we need. Well, one, they needed a dining hall. We didn't even have a real dining hall then. We didn't have dorms.
If you're going to have 120 big guys, you better have a big place to go eat, right?
So we didn't have dorms. We didn't have X. We didn't have Y. We didn't have Z. So they had to put all those things in place before they could revisit this again in, I want to say, about 2012. And at that time, they appointed a committee. I was not on there, but asked me if I might still be a little bitter about that.
Or you might be a little bit bitter about that still?
I am, because all those people on that committee, maybe one or two of them actually ever consistently came to games. So anyway, that committee came up with the resolution of, yes, we needed football. And so they did a student vote, and it was a 60-40 student vote in favor of football.
Why do you think it was only 60-40?
Because some knuckleheaded students didn't want to pay the student fee. So they didn't understand the awareness creates value and publicity, makes their diploma more valuable. And particularly those students at that time didn't realize that, hey, we can do this and make our diploma more valuable, and we won't even have to pay the fee because they won't implement it till they start football. We'll be graduated by then.
And then you're just living off the perks. Isn't it funny, when you mention something like that? Butler, I'm sure they have a great educational program downtown Indianapolis, I believe.
Yeah.
But once they went to back-to-back Final Fours, wow, that's an even nicer certificate that you have hanging on your wall. So there's some real truth to that.
Yes, there is. So I think I told Garrett and Will over there, I said, let me tell you the story of Stanford University and the University of Chicago.
Palo Alto?
Yeah. What's the mascot for the Stanford?
The Cardinal.
Cardinal. I mean, their logo actually has a tree in it sometimes and all that. Well, where's the University of Chicago? Y'all tell me about that one.
I didn't even know there was a University of Chicago. I know there's a Loyola of Chicago.
Yeah, but
that's
there's
not
the
it.
University of Chicago. It was started by John D. Rockefeller.
Was it really?
And it was actually in the Big Ten in the 20s and 30s, and they dropped out. And y'all never heard of them.
I've heard of them. I didn't know Rockefeller started
They had
it.
the first controlled nuclear reaction in the United States there, under their old football stadium. So which school has the better academics?
I would think Stanford.
Chicago.
Wow.
But guess what?
Their diploma isn't worth as much as that Stanford diploma.
So I told this kid this story. I said, I just want you to think 20 years from now when you are applying for a job in Denver, Colorado, and there's a hiring manager, and they go, I never heard of Kennesaw State. It couldn't be any good. How are you going to respond to that? Or you can invest other people's money because you won't be here. And they might say, oh, I have heard of Kennesaw.
That's kind of how I feel about the SPLOST. I always vote yes for the SPLOST. Anybody who wants to fill up my gas or fill up their gas tank in my county and pay for my schools, I'm good with that.
Or spend money at the battery or
absolutely
whatever. So
absolutely.
Anyway. So they went through that whole committee process. The students did vote for it. I went to a marketing class, and they wanted to pick my brain about community banking, and the marketing professor was against football. No, I was astounded. So anyway, but anyway, we had football, and it's quite exciting. I got to be on the search committee to interview coaches. They had narrowed it down to 3, and Coach Bohannon was one of them, and he was by far the best interview.
Who were the other 2?
I still don't want to say, but one of them is still a head coach in, was it the Southern Conference?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's still a head coach. The other one is a retired coach now. He may have had ties to Marietta High School.
Oh, yeah? Didn't Vince Dooley have something to do with it?
Yes, Vince Dooley was very involved with helping us start football and involved in the interview process. And, so he was telling us things that needed to be done and stuff we needed and, academic-wise what had to be done. And he was very instrumental.
I remember when it all first started happening, and I know Coach Dooley was an older gentleman at that point, had already retired, but it definitely gave the university a little bit of a thumbs up. It's like, well, what do they do? I don't know if they know what they're doing, but I think that guy does.
Yes.
And so having him had to have been very instrumental to get us going in the right direction.
Yes, it was. It was a great decision by Dr. Papp to have Coach Dooley be involved.
Now, I was on the committee for tailgating for the initial season. Is that where I met you?
I don't know. It may have been. I wasn't on that committee.
Yeah, I was on with Shannon Sikorsky, and I can't even remember who else was
Did
on that
you buy
committee.
tickets?
No. No. I was still
Should I be
pouring
mad
in.
at you too?
Yeah, you probably should. Yeah. Yeah.
Did Shannon buy tickets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Shannon did.
You're off the hook, Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else was on that committee?
I think Heather Pennington was. I don't remember who all was on that committee.
I won't. I
Yeah,
won't say
it was
anything.
like where we're going to have tailgating and all that stuff, where we should set it up and all.
Which did to the school. There were some people in the athletic department that I thought were particularly numbskulls then. But did they do anything y'all recommended?
I'm not even sure. Well, that's the only place we recommended tailgating was over there in the lots, the gold and the black lots. I mean, there's not much to it. I don't remember how much we did. But.
I advocated putting some tailgating in a green space.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a foreign concept to these people that had gone to big schools that, you tailgate behind your car. I said,
Alabama has a big green space.
Yeah, Georgia has a big green space.
Yeah.
Ole Miss has a big green space.
The Grove, right?
It was just totally foreign concept.
So you hire Coach Bohannon. What was the next step?
His first office was in the Fifth Third Bank, right down here at the corner of Chastain and George Busby. So he started interviewing coaches and started hiring people, and they hit the road, started telling people we were going to have a team. And that would play the first game in 2015. We had to get through the Board of Regents. That was a little challenging because maybe not every school in the state wanted us to have football. Can you believe that?
Mercer doesn't like anything.
Well, they're
we
not
do.
under the Board of Regents, but
Okay.
they don't like anything we do. So there might have been a school.
20 miles south.
No,
90 miles east.
no,
Not my Jackets.
no.
Georgia Southern, maybe.
Maybe they had a problem with it. That delayed us a year. So
Oh, really?
yes, they were able to manipulate it, so we couldn't get approval in like September, and we had to wait till January, so that delayed us a whole year.
Pushed a whole year. So,
So-
when was
Recruiting issue? Is that what it was?
One, they were worried about the supply of football players, and two, they were worried about number of students that were the publicity from the standpoint students would apply to Kennesaw and not go to Georgia Southern.
Sorry about that, Owls.
you know,
You didn't know it was
Hush hush stuff.
it was contentious.
gamesmanship.
Yes, gamesmanship. So
Well, you know,
that's why Georgia Southern won't play us in football.
so riddle me this: how long was Coach Bo? Was Coach Bo announced in 11 or 12?
I think he was announced at the end of 12.
Okay.
So they started doing things in recruiting, and they signed the first recruiting class maybe February of 14 and had fall practice 14. Maybe they actually had a spring practice in 15, and then played our
15.
first game in Johnson City.
Eastern Tennessee State, right?
Yep.
You know,
And we won that game too, didn't we?
Yes, we did, 56-18, and I went to that game and stayed in the hotel. And next morning I was down at breakfast, and the East Tennessee State alumni saying, "Well, the game was closer than the score indicated."
whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Nick Parada, our defensive lineman, scored our first touchdown.
Wow. Do you remember who the first recruit was?
The first one to sign his letter of intent was Chandler Burks.
Was he?
Yes,
Yeah.
You
Chandler's
know,
now with the Navy?
Army.
Army, that's right. Yeah.
it's so interesting when you think back about this stuff. But think if there was a 10-year delay with us doing this, and you know we decided in 18 to start a team or something. The portal's open now. You know, when you think about what we had to do, signing people and getting the, you know, you could literally, if you were starting a brand new football team right now, you just open the portal and just fill up your roster. I'm not saying it'd be a good roster, but it's a different way that
It was a very
would be
different
available.
environment now than it was then. Then was the more traditional, what we were used to.
Absolutely.
I think we were probably the best school ever to start from the standpoint of we were able to start in a controlled environment, and now it's just the Wild West. So very thankful we started when we did.
I'm with you.
And very thankful for Coach Bo and his
Yes.
10 years here, right?
I am
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Couldn't have been anybody better to kick the
We
program
love you,
off.
Coach Bo.
Absolutely.
Friend of the show.
Friend
Yep.
of the show. We keep saying that.
I like it. It's just
We
it's
need
just
new
what it is.
T-shirts say friend
Yeah.
of the show. Yeah.
That'd be
You know, my
something.
grandson's selling T-shirts now. In fact, you're wearing 2 of them.
Yeah, we wore them tonight
Yeah.
for him. So that
Fisher Martin sells T-shirts.
Fisher Martin. So that first season, I mean, we're going to bring Will on in a few minutes to talk about, because he's been to every game, and we want to get his story too. But tell us from your perspective how things have changed other than the portal. I mean, the school's grown obviously from 15 to now.
Well, you know, my thought is, how big would our school be if we had not started football?
You're absolutely right. Everything that you said about what went into the logic of why we should have a football team, had those professors or those 40% of students gotten their way, we still have 26,000.
Yeah, we don't even have a good basketball team.
No, we wouldn't.
No.
We wouldn't.
No, everything's changed because we started NAIA, isn't that right?
Well, in the 80s when we started athletics, it was
Was
NAIA, and then
yeah.
we went to NCAA Division II probably in 95, 96.
Okay. And that's what we were when we started football,
Yeah,
right?
we were in. No, we had announced going Division I in 2005.
Okay.
So we went Division I in all sports, but we didn't have football.
Yeah.
So we went from the Peach Belt Conference, NCAA Division II, to the Atlantic Sun, NCAA Division I, and the rest is history. We started football at 1AA, or the Football Championship Series, and now we're in the Bowl
FBS.
Series.
Yeah.
So
I'm a 1AA guy. I still prefer saying that over FCS.
We're FBS. So, but now you can go to the Bahamas Bowl.
I'm all about the Bahamas Bowl.
Yes.
I think this show is going to look great when we, obviously are live from that parking lot.
You know, there's a real weird musical group called Sparks.
Yes.
And they have a song called "How Do You Get to Carnegie Hall?" And they have a guy just playing the piano just very rapidly the whole time. And it's, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, man, practice.
That's it.
So I want to do a song. How do you get the Bahamas Bowl?
Practice, practice, practice.
Practice, man, practice.
Well, we'll probably make it
So
to a couple
KSU
better
football
games
and
before then. That'll be our
KSU
drop-off
recruits.
bowl.
Yeah, we should be in the football playoffs. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Coach Mack. He'll probably want to do that first or second year.
Yeah.
You look at it, and
No pressure.
None of those home teams won. There's no way to say we wouldn't have a shot in that game.
That's right.
What do you mean none of those home team won?
None of the home teams won.
In the four, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be a home team in that. We'd be traveling, and as of right now,
We'd be motivated.
That group's undefeated.
We would be motivated. I don't know if y'all were aware of KSU football when we made the first year we made the playoffs, and we went and played at Jacksonville State in the playoffs, and that was a phenomenal year. And that game was particularly phenomenal because our fans traveled so well. We just took over that stadium at the end of the game, and we were probably 1/4 of the crowd, but we were 99% of the noise.
Right.
And that was very exciting. It was a great day to be an Owl. So
Hey, that ought to be a T-shirt.
it's a great day to be an Owl.
Oh, that is a T-shirt.
I'm already thinking about the show that has or the shirt that has our logo on it, and it just says "Friend of the Show" on the back.
I love that.
Yeah.
Al, friend of the show.
Jerry Mack Show.
There you go.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
So, Carrick, we're going to ask you, so we can get thejerrymackshow.com or jerrymackshow.com. Which one do you think we ought to get for the website?
JerryMackShow.com.
There you go, Larry. There's our answer. jerrymackshow.com. We
How
talked
about, and you need to do the theme song. You remember the song
Jimmy Mack. Oh, yeah.
Jerry Mack.
Oh, Jerry Mack.
You got a quarterback.
Yeah.
Jerry.
You are the Mack Attack.
Jerry.
We need someone to record it.
You
for
are
us,
the
so
Mack
it's our
Attack.
own.
See?
We got
So we need to do the music show again.
Hall and Oates here.
Wait,
Jerry.
there's a table over there that's doo-wopping with you right
Jerry
now.
Mack. You got the Mack Attack. There you go. I love it.
Sean might even like that.
I don't think Sean's liking anything right
Yeah,
now.
Sean's not
He's
paying
in a
any
huff.
attention to me.
Yeah. So, what are you most looking forward to on Saturday?
I really want to see our new offense, the Tennessee up-tempo, high-scale spread, throw the ball some more, and run the ball a lot, and
I personally
play
think,
every 20 seconds.
I think this is going to be very limited. I think you are not going to see very much.
So you think we're not going to show Wake Forest or Indiana anything?
Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wake Forest and Indiana, when they made these agreements with us, they made it with a former staff, and we ran a different offense. So the last thing we're going to do is show any of our cards. We'll probably run some fast plays because of that. But yeah, I think
You think we'll show
very
vanilla.
plain.
Think we'll show the triple option?
just to mess with them. Why not? Wow,
to
they
mess
might
with
still run that.
Yeah, that would be wild. Yeah, it's not that far until we go up to
but
Winston-Salem.
Wake Forest has a new staff
August
too.
Yeah, they
29th.
lost their coach, right?
The Alumni Association will be doing a tailgate prior to the Wake Forest game on, was that Friday night,
The 29th.
August 29th.
So the
next
tailgate
day-
will be the same day. No, because the game's on Friday. So
Yeah, it'll be that before the game.
Okay, nice.
So, and the next day they will be encouraging people to go to Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is an easy 30-minute drive from Winston-Salem. to
For
see-
Mayberry days.
Mayberry, yes. It was very good. Last time when we were in March Madness, Grace and I and my sister-in-law went up there, and I have a picture of Grace in the Mayberry jail.
I
They
remember
bought
when
that
you
whole
did that.
set.
Yeah.
I can see Grace hanging out with Otis.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Otis.
Yeah, I guess my question is, because you have that date and that information, are the boys in the alumni, boys and girls from the alumni group, planning on heading to Bloomington as well the following week?
I think we're just going to do Wake Forest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Unless we shock the world and then maybe people are just taking a week off
Now,
of
I want to
work.
go to Indianapolis or to Bloomington.
now, we will probably still have a meetup. So
Absolutely.
It won't be a full tailgate. Like
Are you
we're
going to
planning.
Bloomington?
I don't know yet.
If you want to drive up, I'll go with you.
I might.
Yeah.
You never know.
Karaoke's the 30th, so I've
Yeah,
got to do karaoke.
You
that
might. Yeah, you got to pay the
Saturday.
bills, don't you?
Yeah, but I'll definitely go up to Indiana. I'd love to
Yeah.
go up to Bloomington.
Yeah, I know Will wants to go to see where the movie Breaking Away was filmed.
Yeah, he said he was going to fly up, though, and I'd rather drive than fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad ride.
We can honk and yell things at Adrian Woolley when we go through Louisville.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really nice. Drop a few things on the way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get Will on here,
All right.
and if you're welcome to stay with us.
You
but we're
heard
gonna-
we signed 3 basketball players this week.
Did not.
One of them is 4-star transfers.
From?
One's from North Carolina Central, one's from Wake Forest, and one was had signed with Murray State, but because they had a coaching change, he was able to get out of that, and he signed with KSU.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, it's very exciting. They did sign another football player out of the portal this week. So
What
that's good.
position does he claim?
I think he was I'm sorry, they signed 2. The first one I think was an offensive lineman. The second one was a 4-star recruit. I got my 4 stars mixed up. A 4-star recruit, defensive end that's coming in from somewhere I can't remember, but that's very exciting. We don't get 4 stars yet.
Well,
so.
I wonder what the connection is. There's probably a connection somewhere with Mac, Coach Mack or somebody else where
Maybe so.
Or Kayla or Peter. Really enjoyed Peter last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Very nice. Very
Yep.
nice. Very proud that he's an owl.
Yeah.
So.
He's going to be a
Of course,
very,
this second
very good
time
asset.
he's been an owl too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
he was a
Rice.
Rice. Yeah.
They're all a bunch of Rice Owls. Mac and
Did you
Kershaw.
ask him whether, when he went to the Chinese restaurant, which type of rice he preferred? Was it the fried rice or the white rice? Or
Oh, we didn't ask him about lice. No.
Okay.
No lice, no rice.
No.
Yeah.
So, Mike Kershaw is going to be on next week to
Okay, great.
recap the spring game with us. So,
Yeah.
very happy. All right, let's do a Brain Train commercial.
Thanks for coming on, sir.
Thanks,
Glad-
Kit.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations? Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
you, Melissa Hargett, for being sponsor of the Owls Who Live Sports, of the Owls Show. Soon to be the Jerry Mack Show. Don't forget, coming in the fall, we'll be doing the Jerry Mack Show. Head football coach of the KSU Owls every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. He'll be here to talk about the previous week's game and the upcoming game and player of the week. So looking forward to that. Aren't you, Robert?
I am. It's like we'll have an Owl show, and then we'll just have a Jerry Mack show, and then at the end of football season, we'll have a Owl show again. And technically, I guess, depending on if there's an off week and nobody comes on, we might even have an Owl show in the middle of
during
football.
a bye week.
Yeah, something
you
like
never
that.
know.
Yeah, we have a week in October where there's no game.
Right. He might have something
You always
in
have
mind.
game.
Yeah.
Now, Chuck said something a minute ago, and I was thinking it
We need to
wasn't
welcome
true.
Will first.
What's that?
We need to welcome Will first. So.
Hey, welcome.
I just jumped in.
Welcome, Will.
Will Whitfield, welcome back, buddy.
Now, how many games have you missed in the football season?
Well, home games, I have missed one.
Okay.
In all, because my daughter got married.
Horrible job.
I love you, Kara.
Way to go,
scheduling.
And let me tell you this: Kara is in nursing school and is due to graduate sometime in October. And I told her, whatever you do, that ceremony is going to be during the week.
Yeah.
It's not going to be on.
We're not skipping
Or on the
it.
weekend that they're off.
Yeah.
And road games?
The first 2 years I did not go to every game. So I've probably missed 10 road games in all the last 10 years. You have been lying to people, but I haven't corrected you either. So
I just felt like, I didn't want us to get all the way down the road where it was like O'Leary's resume. I wanted to get up front in front of this.
Well, I do keep a spreadsheet of every game I've been to, the win-loss ratio. So I keep my win-loss ratio versus the current coach's win-loss ratio. But so the first 2 years I went to one road game each of the first 2 years, and I missed the other one. So I missed probably 4 the first year, 4 the second year, and then maybe about the third or fourth year I missed another one because I was doing a barbecue competition.
So out of 10 years, you've missed about 10 games.
Yeah,
Something
total.
like that.
That's still a serious fan.
Oh, it's very impressive. It's very impressive.
I calculated that at the end of this season, I will have been to more football games than anybody, more Kennesaw games than anybody. Because up to this point, Coach Bohannon and Stewart and Liam Klein all had more games than me because they've been on staff all 10 years.
Right.
But so at these next 10 or 11 games, I will pass them.
Now, what about Trevor Burke? He was
Chandler Burke?
Chandler Burke, I'm sorry.
Well, Chandler was at after he graduated, he went to Wofford 1 year, and then he came back. So he did miss a whole year.
He missed a whole year, but
Yeah.
but outside that, he was pretty close.
He was pretty close too because he was a graduate assistant at Wofford, and then he came back, and now he's gone. So yeah,
moving up.
He's at Army now. So.
Well, no, I'm talking about you moving up.
Oh yeah, moving up the list.
There you go.
To the east side. There you go. So I saw Charlie over there dancing when we were singing Jerry Mack. That was pretty good.
We didn't know what you were
she
singing
got some
because
moves.
we were in our own little world over there talking about the tailgate for this upcoming game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we even tailgate for spring games. But
Yeah. So before we get to that, so we're talking about the history of KSU football. Tell us about the first game you went to.
Well, I'll tell you about the first one I missed, which really is upsetting. The first game ever, and he probably talked about
East
it, was
Tennessee
East
State.
Tennessee State.
That we won.
Did he tell you it was at a high school stadium?
No.
Because East Tennessee had canceled their program and then was bringing it back, and so they were redoing their stadium, and they didn't have a stadium. So they played at Johnson City High School, or whatever the school is there in Johnson City, and they didn't have enough seats. And I was going to go, and I couldn't get tickets. There was no way to get tickets. And even there were parents of players that I learned later, they only gave each player 2 tickets. So a friend of mine who was a player had a mom and a dad and a stepdad. Stepdad didn't get to go. And so no way I was getting in. So I did miss that game. But the first game was the first home game ever. And I'm trying to remember who we played. I don't know if it may have been Edward Waters. But, or that was the second or third home game. But it was in 2015. And so it was a home game. We did not know what to expect. So I showed up at the tailgate. And I had 2 smoked butts and I had my daughter.
Yeah, but what were you cooking?
Well, hey, but So I had my Cambro full of pulled pork, and it was me and Lexi, and we didn't know anybody. So we pulled up next to this other group, and they had tables and tents and chairs, and I didn't have all that stuff yet. I was just hanging out. I didn't know what was going to happen. And
There's this guy walking around with his daughter and a couple butts.
And Matt Henson, good friend of mine, helped found the Black Lot Tailgate Club, walked over and said, "Hey, what do you got to eat?" And I opened the Cambro and slid this drawer out, and it was still steam. It was hot. He's like, "We're friends. You're tailgating with us."
Sold.
So that's when we formed our tailgate group, was that very first home game.
And that was Edward Waters, 58-7 that day.
Oh, yeah. We killed them. We lost halftime, but...
Tell us about that halftime show. You told me a little bit about it.
Oh, the halftimers. One thing that you learn about HBCU schools is they win halftime. I don't care who if you're playing an HBCU,
enthusiasm at a new level.
Yeah, any of them, you're going to lose the halftime show because they are going to put on a show. And so they showed up, and they had a dance crew that danced in front of their band while the band was playing, which was entertaining, until the announcer came on and says, "Now we want to welcome the Purple Thunder." Well, if you've ever seen Edward Waters' band, the Purple Thunder is something to see. There's a different size to this group. They're closer to my size than they are my daughter's. And they can dance, they can do splits, and they do things that shock you, physical feats that shock you at their size, but it is very entertaining.
And you were telling me earlier these ladies bottomed out at 250, and they're doing splits.
Oh, you had to be a minimum of 250 to be on the Purple Thunder. And that's what I think. I mean, it looked like it. But they were not just girls out there standing around. They were moving and doing splits and jumps, and they were having a good time.
So a good chance they probably used to be 350, and they're working their way down like you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining, and it was fun to see.
Yeah. So is that what hooked you to KSU football that day?
No, I was sold on Kennesaw football from the day they announced it.
Yeah.
I loved college athletics, and growing up being a person that went to Southern Polytechnic State University, I never thought my alma mater.
Go Hornets.
Yeah, go Green Hornets. I never thought my alma mater was going to have a football program. And so around the same time they announced the merger is when they announced a football program. And I told my wife, I said, I'm giving up my season tickets to Georgia, and I'm all in at Kennesaw State. And ever since then, as I've been donating and going and enjoying every minute of it.
And certainly one of the greatest things we've gained out of having the show is having you become a friend and a friend of the show.
Numero uno, number one friend.
Yeah, we're going to get T-shirts that say "Friend of the Show." So
all right, there you
you'll
go.
get the first one. That'll be cool. Well, it might be second to Maynard G. Krebs since he got the show for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But how's football changed over the years at KSU? What have you seen?
Well, the first year was a bunch of curious people. There were people that bought tickets the first year that never came back because they just, it was a new thing, so they thought they'd give it a try, and it turned out not to be for them. But since then, the tailgate and the whole atmosphere has just kind of grown over time. I like to say that the athletic director we had at the time, Vaughn Williams, did a fantastic job getting to the first game. Because, we didn't have a marching band. We had a stadium, we had a soccer stadium, but we didn't have any of the atmosphere that goes around a football program. So the very first game, nobody knew what was going to happen as far as all the different aspects of it. But he worked with the county to get them to be able to close down that road. So when we're walking back and forth from the tailgate area to the game, it's closed off, so it's safe. And he worked with the county to get that started, and we continue that. He worked with the school to get the band funded and get the band. I mean, we had a band, but we didn't have a marching band, and so he worked getting that funded and getting that going. And so we didn't start out missing a lot of aspects. We started out looking very good out of the gate. And Carrick Martin, who was on the show earlier, was on the search committee for the first head coach.
That's what he was telling us.
And they did a fantastic job coming up with a coach. Now, the coach came in and said, we're going to run the triple option. And the reason he was going to do it was he said it was the fastest way to win games. And what he meant by that was, instead of having developed players or develop a scheme over time, you could come in and you're a disruptor just simply by running that offense.
Sure.
Because the teams that have to prepare for you now all of a sudden have to take a week out and go, all right, all that stuff we've been telling you about the running gun and the
pro style offense,
the pro style offense,
yeah.
that's not going to happen this week. It's going to be like running the wing tee out in middle school, and you got to remember all those things about the defensive ends got to take the quarterback, and you've got to be man on man,
and it's always been that way. Whenever somebody has an extra week to prepare, they're always really good against that offense.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an extra week to prepare, people aren't ready.
And he had come from Southern and Georgia Tech where they ran that.
He had run that with the best that had ever run it.
Yeah.
Paul Johnson. He was under Paul Johnson at Georgia Southern, at Navy, and at Georgia Tech.
Yep.
Even though he was a wide receiver at UGA. I don't know if you knew that about Bohannon.
I did know
he
that,
played
yeah.
at Georgia, but he was with Paul Johnson, and so he was with the best, and so he understood the offense, brought in the right staff to run it, and so in year 3 we were able to win a conference and become the winningest startup program ever.
So let me ask you this, because you already alluded to you had season tickets before this started and decided to stop. I asked Carrick a version of this question, but how much weight or gravitas did you put into the hiring of Vince Dooley when you heard of that? Were you like, okay, this is a lot better than hiring the assistant coach from North Cobb to get your feet wet? Did that put the school on a different level as far as their starting program?
Oh, you talking about Dooley as far as
when we were getting started,
the search committee?
Because you actually alluded to how we didn't miss a beat with all this stuff, and one of the reasons why we never missed a beat is we had a guy who had a ton of experience helping us out.
Well, Vince Dooley was more than I know our friend here who just loves Georgia, but Vince Dooley was more than a head coach. He was the athletic director at UGA for a while.
Correct.
And UGA was known as one of the top programs, one of the top athletic programs in the country at the time. I mean, that was back when we had the #1 gymnastic program in the country, and we had really good
Gym
basketball.
dogs.
Yeah, we had some good basketball programs in those eras, as well as the football program. But, but no, when he was leading up the exploratory committee, I don't know that a lot of news came out about that. I mean, there was news that he was on the committee and they were working and they were going to see what. And then when the day they announced he was there, but he didn't do a lot publicly. He did a lot behind the scenes to make it happen.
Yeah. But when you first heard that's who they hired, I told Carrick, I wasn't a KSU guy or anything else, local team. But when you heard, it's like, okay, that's a good chip.
You bring in some street credibility.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When did Carrick get involved?
Carrick's been
not
involved
Carrick,
since
Garrett.
Oh, Garrett?
Yeah.
So Garrett was involved with athletics before the football program.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he was going to like volleyball games and things like that before they even started, and basketball games before they started a football program.
Well, let's get our last 2 commercials out of the way and have Garrett come join us, Larry, if we can set up another mic. We want you here too.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanted to take something else off your bucket list, American Access has 3.5 Atlanta locations waiting for you in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile X experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at upcoming events and festivals and look them up at American Access, or give them a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the Owl Show. Looking for a ride that's more than just transportation? Experience the revolution in luxury travel with Revere Black Car Service. Whether it's a trip to the airport, corporate travel, weddings, daily commutes, or a ride to the KSU game, our Black Car Service delivers comfort, style, and reliability. Ride in a premium luxury vehicle with a professional chauffeur dedicated to exceptional service. Enjoy all the amenities while indulging in a first-class experience designed just for you. Whether you're heading to an important meeting, catching a flight, or celebrating a special occasion, Revere Transportation gets you there in style. Join the revolution and book your ride today at RevereRides.com. And thank you, Travis Loudermilk, also for being a sponsor. We now have with us Mr. Garrett Brackett. Listen to that crowd. Yeah, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. So we're talking about the history of KSU football, and Will mentioned that you were a KSU fan before football started.
Yes.
All right,
Did you want more than that?
Thank you for coming on, Gary. We'll see you next week.
Man of few words, folks.
I couldn't have planned that better if I
Yeah.
tried.
So what was your first impression of football here at KSU, Garrett?
Football?
Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, other than we were just talking about baking in the sun on the visitor side at every game, coming in and drinking like 4 gallons of water before the game started. It was.
And why were you on the visitor side?
Because everybody was on the visitor side.
Yeah, there was nothing on the other side.
They like I said, there was a lot of people curiosity people that signed up for that first season. So
they were all sitting in the west stands.
Yeah. So even though we had signed up early, I was still I didn't give enough money, so I was on the other side. So I cinched up my giving so I could stay on the home side.
So tell us, do you remember the first game? Did you go to the first home game?
Yeah, I went to every game that year.
Yeah.
So you went to the game at East Tennessee as well?
No, I went to every home game.
Okay,
every home game. I didn't travel a lot back then. I didn't get into traveling really until maybe I did. I don't know. I'm getting old. I can't remember anything anymore. I'm not like this guy over here. He's an elephant when it comes to different trips he's been on. I need to make more memories when I go on these trips.
He's been to Gardner Webb, I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, that's because that's where I met you.
He's been to MTSU. I know that.
Yeah.
The thing is when I first started, I started with Brandon Russell, and we actually tailgated, and I was responsible for cooking back then too. So it was a whirlwind up until the game time. So in the game time, it's kind of like rest and relax and hydrate, before the sun cooked me out and the game started. But, I mean, the game I remember, I think it was shorter.
The game was shorter or the school was shorter?
The school was
we played shorter.
We played shorter, and they were kicking a field goal and missed, and we ran it back for a touchdown, and that's where I ripped open my leg on the stands. So I'll always remember that.
That was the second home game.
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember the first one. I was too excited. The second one, though, I was pumped for that.
Yeah.
That was
The
awesome.
first one, how could you not remember the purple
Because I
herd
was
or
so
whatever it was?
distracted from cooking and making sure that went off well that it was just a blur that whole day.
What's funny is when you organize a tailgate, the guy who cooks for the tailgate rarely eats at the tailgate.
Right.
He goes in the stadium and gets a hamburger.
I did have a cheeseburger. I do remember I had a cheeseburger that day.
Well, and also I was going to say when you're that busy going into it, and then that first game was 58-7. 58-7 kind of flies by. We just scored again. That second game was an 18-10, much closer game. So.
Now, I do remember the beginning of the season, though, that everybody's like, "Oh, we're undefeated, and that,
Yeah, we and the football people knew that wasn't going to last long.
No.
Because
But
we knew
we were 3-0 at that time, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Who was our first loss?
At Dayton, the next fourth week, we lost a very close game, 27-31 to Dayton. So I mean,
did you go to that game?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I had to spill the beans that actually missed away games the first season.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
This.
You did?
I knew that, and it's just been misquoted a few times.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
I will tell you, the worst loss we ever had, and this is in my opinion, because people have always asked me, what's your favorite game? I will tell you what my worst game is.
Easier for that.
Yes, it was against Presbyterian. It was the last game of the first season. You'll notice we lost by like 3 or 4 points.
14-6.
14-6.
In Clinton,
okay.
South Carolina.
In Clinton, South Carolina. Coach Bohannon learned a lot that season. Coach Bohannon is a very intense individual on the field and at practice. And so by the time the last game came around, there was no energy left in the players because practices were hard, games were hard. He drove everybody very hard. And so by the time we reached the last game, we didn't have enough energy to finish the game. And Trey White, who was our quarterback back then, we had to pull him. And we put in our backup quarterback, who ended up being, it was not Burks at the time.
Bennett?
No, it was we went to our third one. No, it was the guy who was the running back
McKenzie, Jake
Oh,
McKenzie.
that's right,
We
Jake
put in Jake
McKenzie, yeah.
McKenzie as a quarterback, and I didn't know who any of these players were at the time, but looking back on it, I was like, we should have won that game because we were better than what was happened on the field. And talking with people years later, I learned that the players just were worn down and were just ready to be done
But
because
you know,
it was.
you do hear stories about that. You know, when you're doing your first head coaching experience, let alone your school's first playing experience. You know, they talk about it during the Run for the Roses. When does he go to the whip?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, if you go to the whip too early, well then, man, by the time you hit that third corner, you know, they're a little sluggish. So it makes sense that could have happened.
Yeah. So Coach learned a lot the first season, and it showed the second and obviously the third when we won a conference. But yeah, I always say that was my least favorite game as far as how well we played, because that was a game. You know, when we played Liberty and when we played not Jacksonville State, when we played Charleston Southern in year one, we knew, anybody who knew football knew we were going to lose going into those two games. And you just kind of hoped it wasn't going to be bad. But when we played Presbyterian, we should have won that game, and we didn't. Because by that point, we'd already been knocked out of the conference because Charleston Southern had already won it the week before.
Gotcha.
So how has football changed for you, Garrett, over the years?
The program?
Yeah.
Or the
experience?
menus.
Yeah.
Not the program, not the menu.
Well,
We'll get to the menus.
The menus changes his existence on a regular basis.
Well, a lot of things changed, you know, during when was the Gardner-Webb game? How many years in was that?
That was the second year.
There was a Gardner-Webb game in the first year.
The one that we met
It was at Gardner-Webb, though, which was the second year.
Yeah, so what happened in that second year, that was 2016,
Yeah.
I was doing all the cooking for my tailgate, and then I got deployed. And when I came back, my responsibilities were taken over by someone else, and I was just hanging out at that point in time, and I need to do something. I need to be involved. I need to... So they adopted me, and so football changed for me because I met this whole group of people now who is the core of my friendship group now.
Yeah.
So that experience changed, and we've done a lot of things together. I mean, now we do baseball together, we do basketball together, and I get sad when summer comes around because we don't see a lot of these people during the summer.
Yeah.
So it's become a big part of my life, not just getting involved with the athletes' lives, but it's more than just sports for me.
Okay.
You
Well,
know?
we only got 5 minutes left. So a couple of things.
Oh, boy.
Tailgate this weekend, and what do you
Yes.
expect from the spring game?
You know, every time we've had a coach or somebody from the football program on, I said, hey, what's it going to look like? And they're like, well, we don't know yet. So I have no clue what's going to happen on the field, other than I'm hoping we see the quickness that people keep talking about. Every time you have a player and we talk to them, they're like, man, it's fast. It's snap it, pass it, start over. And even the linemen are like, dude, we at the time,
Right.
You know, we don't have much time because we got to get lined up again. So I think they're doing a lot of calling from the snap. They're not huddling up.
Yeah, so you had a lot of conversations with Josiah a couple of weeks ago when
Yeah.
he was here. So I tried to get him on tonight, but he said, no, we're all in meetings
Yeah.
every night this week
Right.
getting ready for the game.
Yeah.
So how about you, Garrett? What are you expecting from the game?
I think it's going to be much bigger. There's going to be more explosive plays. I think there's going to be more. These guys are big. We're going to see bigger hits.
We've got a lot bigger linemen than what we've had before.
It's going to
yeah.
be. It's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be completely different than what we're used to.
And Coach Bo even told us that when he was on the show. He said the difference when you get to Conference USA is the size of the linemen.
Right.
Yeah.
Said you got to get big linemen
Absolutely.
to compete in this league.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm firmly, I have a belief that they're not going to show us very much because obviously the teams that decided to pay us money to play this year paid Coach Bo and that other offense, and so we're probably not wanting to show too awful much. But
Right.
it should be interesting. I know last year was one of the more exciting things you guys were talking about was all of the snaps not under center.
Yeah.
So you know another year of that, a little bit. Actually, we'll probably be a little more under center possibly. a lot of handoffs depending on what formation we decide to run.
It'll be interesting because I have no idea what to expect from the actual football perspective.
Sure.
I mean, the spring game is actually becomes more of a social game than for the fans, because we sit there and talk, because normally during the season when there's a football game going on, we're watching the game.
Right.
During spring, it's like we're casually watching, we're talking, we're not, it's not, because it's Kennesaw win, lose, who, no matter what, if the offense plays well, it's great. If the defense plays well, that's great too. So.
Right.
But I think there's a lot more anticipation about the spring game this year than there has been in years past.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see what the formation is going to look like.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm excited about seeing the speed, because I mean that's what they brought the kid in from Georgia Southern, the
Wake
quarterback.
Forest, you better be watching because we're coming.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch. Don't worry about any of it.
Yeah.
Just show up that morning and see what shows up.
Right.
What gets off the bus.
I like we got Coach Mack. I'm smack talking Wake Forest now.
I like that.
Yeah,
you know, and let me just say, we've been talking about all these different football memories. When Chuck and I first started the show, one of the very first memories that was told to me that really kind of solidified everything was you putting a grill in your suitcase to fly to, was it Houston? Sam Houston. But you know, the idea that these guys, you know, it's like, can we buy a grill when we get to Texas? I don't know. We better just put one in our suitcase, man, just to make sure. You know, it's beautiful stuff, and that's the camaraderie that you miss during summer, and keeps you coming back for more, and has me hook, line, and sinker.
Awesome. Hey, you want to read that Giving Day information that Garrett gave us before? We
Yes.
didn't do that, did we?
On April 16th is KSU Giving Day, so please look it up. Find out as much as you can, and give as much as possible, because this school needs it.
Great things are happening at KSU too. All right,
That's my birthday week, so if anybody wants me to bring me a present on the 16th.
Yeah, I missed not having your birthday on spring game.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Wait,
yeah.
hold on.
So
The show will be on the 16th, and we'll be here on Giving Day.
My birthday's the 14th, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I'll accept presents on the 16th.
You're still
You're a
Twix
hell of a
fan?
guy.
So we're going to be broadcasting live from 9 to 10:30 at the Black Tailgate lot on Saturday. See you, Carrick. And we hope you guys come out, and Will and Garrett will certainly feed you some breakfast. Right?
We're going to have some bacon, some sausage, some pancakes, some eggs. It's going to be a feast.
I've already told a few people. They're like, "What's going on?" Well, you know, there'll be free breakfast.
Yeah, and a free breakfast and a football game. How can you lose?
You
right?
can't beat that in April.
All right. Well, very excited about the Owls starting up the season. Thank you guys as always for joining us. And Charlie, thanks for coming on. We're going to have you on all week next week. So we're happy to have everybody here. Robert, good show, buddy.
Absolutely.
Larry, we'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, one more big hootie-hoo!
Hootie-hoo! Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to be here next week.
You don't want to go to war.
Larry's all about the 5 seconds. We can have 5
We're only
seconds.
allowed to play 5 seconds.
I can keep singing for an hour.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you can.
We had a power flip during the first show, and they said something we did. And I said, I don't know what we did.
All the TVs went out.
We've,
Sean, the reason why Sean
we haven't plugged everything in. We haven't plugged in before.
It broke a breaker?
I don't know what it did. So I hope they're not upset with us. We didn't do anything different than what we've always done. I was in bed Saturday till 3 o'clock. By the pollen on Friday.
You know what's funny is when you can see the pollen like this, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
I had coughs and all about 3 weeks ago before it started, before you see it. So whatever's going on during that time frame is what kills me.
I didn't get out of bed till 2 o'clock on Sunday, 3 o'clock on Saturday, and 10 o'clock on Monday. I just couldn't breathe. I had no energy to do anything.
Half my team is, my employees are working from home because they sound like smokers.
Yeah.
They're just terrible. All right, well, I'm going to get Charlie and we're going to head home because I don't keep her out this late.
I'll see you Saturday.
I will be there.
I'm going to try to get there as early as I can, 7:30 or so. Now, Tom's not going to be there, right?
Tom will not be there.
Okay. So,
Tom's out on a business.
are you going to have the truck, though?
Yeah, I'll have the charger.
All right, and the generator and all that?
Yeah, the generator's mine.